to Talking Sports with Brad Miller and Coach West and the Dong.
The Dong Mask is back.
That's our moneymaker.
Officiating crew in the Big Ten.
That's our
in the country. That would have been just stupid. Best looking. Nothing like some bondage clothing to referee in.
That's our fan grab and our picture grab. The Dong.
We need to patent that thing.
Can we just make that the background? If you send that to me, I'll just make it the background.
Absolutely. The worst part is it looks like, because, it's already a weird mask to begin with, but then the full picture, it looks like Kofi's about to canoodle him.
Yeah, it's got a closed fist.
The full picture looks far worse. It's a canoodler.
It does. Even the ref's in that stance of oh, what's that? What's in my bum?
What is that?
Jesus Christ.
Shit. You're gonna be able to shit later.
Is that a clue? Feels like I got a clue.
The mystery of the urinal dude. The Hotley brothers, a couple of young whippersnappers with a sense of adventure.
Oh man!
All right, good.
No dull moment here on the Sunday podcast.
No dong moments either.
The dong moments, and seeing it live in high school is just so. I just laugh and thank God I wear a mask.
I wish somebody had one of those around here. I wouldn't be able to coach.
Oh, thank God I'm not the coach. I can sit down and just laugh for a second, look at the floor and laugh.
Maybe you have your mask on so they can't even tell if you're laughing or not.
Well, when I fall to the ground rolling, they what's wrong with him?
They just say, quick, call 911, get an AED. That's the first step.
But that's not social distancing. They can't save my life. It's too close.
Yeah, you have to let him die. No, you know what they do? They take those, the thing, if you're on a jazzy scooter, you have that little grabber. That's how they put the AED paddles on you.
Why is this taking 15 minutes? We have to stay fucking back here with this.
That's why.
Using a pool noodle. I can't hit the start button.
Trying to generate enough force to get one compression with the pool noodle. It's just this whopping sound.
Whoop. This only goes 5 feet. I can't reach him. I can't even touch. God, I'm going to hell. It's all right.
It's okay.
Because I like to think I'm invincible, but then COVID reared its ugly head and gave me a migraine, so I left school 9:30 and went to bed. It was terrible. Then they said, you're going to have it for another month. I said, what?
Yeah, did you get the mental fog?
Yeah, because the podcast, remember, we're trying to have the argument. Nathan's making great points that I could actually combat, and then I'm just sitting there going, oh, yeah, there's snow outside. I don't know what's going on.
7 rings, Steve. That's the only argument there is anymore.
I don't have time for that.
Hey, by the way, you want to talk
guess what? Next year, it's going to be 8 rings.
You want to talk about the biggest loser in the world? Did you see that lady that was Tom Brady disrespected my family's heritage because my grandfather created the Lombardi trophy and he's throwing it from boat to boat?
I saw that this morning, actually.
I'm going to tell you, Tom, if we could just start with that, Tom Brady drunk. Because the guy basically takes care of his body 364 days out of the year. And then the one time he decides to party, he goes stupid drunk mode to where he's getting carried out of the bar. This is on his bachelor party night.
And then he holds his kids. He's holding his kids afterwards. I'm are you sure you should be holding your kid up that high? Are you sure?
When he threw the Lombardi trophy, it almost took my breath away. I was like, what?
It's funny because it's Brady and Gronk, and they've had so many. And, Gronk's already damaged one because he dropped it on the parade float. And, to them, it's like, oh, it's just another one. You
And
know?
to other people, it's like, damn it, I need that.
Yeah, exactly. Like JJ Watt's sitting there, like, what are you doing?
I would actually have a separate bed built for that trophy, and Tom Brady is drinking his life away on the back of a boat and throwing it to another boat with no give a damn about where it ends up in between.
Well, no. So that lady, it was a 5-minute long video of her talking about how disrespectful it was for Tom Brady to be throwing the trophy.
And this mental damage it's going to do to her and this and that.
And then somebody in the comments underneath it was like, I can't wait till she finds out what happens to the Stanley Cup every year. Like they put strippers in it, all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah.
Do you know how much cocaine and booze has been in that thing?
Oh, and that's the thing. The Stanley Cup, like you get 24 hours with it and no one knows what you do.
Yeah.
Well, then it travels though. Like you travel with it. So you know how much shit's been in there?
Oh, yeah.
That's like, how COVID started.
I love it.
Could you imagine if like
actually if you drank out of the Stanley Cup, you're probably immune to COVID.
That's the key right there is the Stanley Cup.
It's the fountain of anti-COVID. Is
like
actually the Stanley Cup's probably one of the cleanest cups you can drink out of. Because like it's got that posse of dudes that just goes around and like shines it every day. Like
now, when you have it for 24 hours, do you have to give it back to those guys, or does it just go to the next person? And it's like, how dingy can we make this son of a bitch?
It stays with the team.
Before we get it back.
It stays with the team. She wants something, and I don't know what it is.
You're talking about cocaine and alcohol. I want to know what this is.
Yeah. He's all into drugs. No, I think what happens is like you get your 24 hours, but then you give it back to like the Stanley Cup people.
Oh, so they can make sure that.
Yeah.
And then when you travel with it, they're there. A representative is there or something.
Yeah, but I think your 24 hours is just you. Like
can we that's just the team. Won a Stanley Cup on this thing so we can ask them?
Yeah, we got to find someone that won a Stanley Cup.
Wouldn't that be crazy if like we just be like, hey, Patrick Kane, can you come on here for 15 minutes of your time? I don't know, somebody who's won one.
I don't know.
Not
a Blackhawks person.
I don't watch hockey. That's the only name I know.
I really don't either. But as
Alex Ovechkin. I know Ovechkin.
As a Las Vegas Golden Knights fan since day one.
Respect.
And his expansion teams.
Yeah. I should have held out and rooted for the Kraken.
Yeah.
Which is Seattle's new team. But no, now I'm stuck with the Golden Knights, and I'm okay with that.
But you want to know what? There's like a lot of cool Golden Knights fans. Chris Cale, the bass player for Five Finger Death Punch, is a big dude.
John Pafford.
Yeah. There's a lot of like big name like celebrities that like the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
I will say this. The best live sports I've been to has been a Blackhawks game, a hockey game. That's the most exciting live game you can go to.
You know what? Like I had never been to a hockey game until we went to a Blues game. And everyone said like it's different live. Hockey has the best setup where it's like because stuff's always happening, like say I got to go to the bathroom, you can't go back to your seat until there's a stoppage.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we don't want you going in front of people and they miss something. And I was like, that is such a good idea.
Yeah.
Or the fact that you could be walking to the bathroom and get hit in the head with a flying hockey puck.
True.
You know how many Danville Dashers games I've been to where somebody's gotten hit with a hockey puck?
Well, because Danville, there's like shields. No shields. We don't need fucking shields.
No, they
had plexiglass.
One of our teachers, when I was teaching at Georgetown, he got hit with a hockey puck across the forehead, had to get 8 stitches. Banked off the freaking side and right into the forehead.
I still think hockey players are like have to be the toughest athletes. It's probably like hockey, rugby, football.
I would say rugby more. Rugby's limited pads, constant. Like hockey, they go in shifts. Rugby is like a soccer player.
And rugby players, like when you were in college, did you ever know any of the rugby players? Like,
Yeah.
they're animals.
They're messed up in the head.
Yeah, like you have to have a mental, there's a screw loose that's like, I'm just going to run into people head first with no protection. And like hockey or rugby women are even crazier.
Yes.
Like at SIU, they were scary. Like
crazy parties too.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I don't know how like a rugby house survives multiple years.
I don't either. They have to get a new house every year so that the school doesn't know where they're at.
Exactly. Like I know SIU, like my 4 years of undergrad, the rugby house was the same house. And I don't know how it didn't burn down or like get condemned. Like crazy.
I don't know, but they're tougher than Michigan basketball. That's all I got to say.
But I love that Tom Brady is just like living it up and basically like not giving a damn. You know what I mean? Like he's just out there. It's like he's almost enjoying this way more than what he is when he was with the Patriots. Because, Bill was like, all right, everybody, this is how we're going to sit on the buses for our parade and da-da-da-da-da. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, I'm cutting loose. I'm getting fucked up, and we're going to have a blast.
I'm on a boat with my flippy floppies, and I'm going to throw this damn trophy.
No, I think it was cool because, like, to me, Tom Brady has reached the point where he's not even human to me. Like, he's at another level. And then I think that of him. And then you see him having to be, like, helped out of a bar. And I was like, oh, I'm like Tom Brady.
He's the champion. He's the people's champion.
Yeah.
You know how many people that weren't Tom Brady fans that I talked to before the game? And they are from, like, one, just not really giving a shit about any protocols anymore, right? Like he's just living his normal life. And then being carried out of that bar and just, we've all been there. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's just like, go Tom. You know what, buddy? And I think that was part of it was he was letting loose because there was so much like preparation in this season. You got to think they digitally prepared for this season.
And all the COVID testing all the time, this and that. And
well, do you
You're
remember
probably going to get drunk to celebrate?
Do you remember way back, he got like fined for being in a public park in Tampa. Remember that? The mayor caught him in a public park and were like, you can't be here. And she didn't know who he was.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. Like, and it's just impressive that, like, whole new team, Brady, people were like, he needs to retire. Gronk was in the WWE. And
with Pat McAfee.
And Antonio Brown was in prison.
You know what they need to do? They need to get Pat McAfee on that Tampa Bay team.
He said, did you see his post? He was like, Dustin, he saw the party and stuff, and he goes, wow, that looks fun. I'm dusting off the cleats.
Well, like, did you know that year after Parkey basically went us over and screwed freaking McAfee like tried out for the Bears. Yeah, he was
before his show took off.
It was before his show took off. He said, I was with a certain team because of my connection, the Pagano connection, because this was after Fangio had left. And he was like, he just basically had his knee swelled up real bad after he was kicking, so he was done. But they were going to have him as a kicker.
But yeah, he posted, he goes, dusting off the cleats after seeing how much fun Tom Brady had. So it was like,
You
could you
ever
imagine
listen-
Pat McAfee with them?
You ever listen to like his stories about like at West Virginia? Like he was banned from having parties. Like they wouldn't let him.
He has some crazy stories and then like really inspirational stories. It's crazy how there's this side of him and then there's this side where he's banned from partying. Like,
Yeah.
Well, did you see like in WWE, like they got all pissed off at him? One of the guys did. Was it Michael Cole? Because he wore fucking like the jorts, like the suit shorts. And he was like, you're disgracing WrestleMania. No. It's like, you dudes need to loosen up. You need to be more like a Tom Brady after the Super Bowl.
he got married in jorts. I don't want to fucking hear it.
Yeah, he wore shorts everywhere.
Yeah.
Plus, get over yourself. It's wrestling.
Yeah. It's
This
all
isn't-
scripted.
This isn't the Masters.
And do you know like people tune in when they see Pat McAfee? How many people tune into that? So shut up.
Yeah. I almost got my WWE Network subscription back to be able to watch him wrestle Adam Cole, which I guess was a badass match.
Is that where he hurt his neck and he had the neck brace on a show? He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, my body."
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
All right.
At
Tom
least
Brady.
he's-
Thank you,
at
Tom, for making us all feel like you.
Thank you for making us feel human because we've all
Yeah.
been there. We've all been in that spot, not on a boat, but at least in a bar.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
throwing a championship trophy, but most definitely. I think I've even been around Brad a few of those nights.
Well, actually, the whole having to be carried out of a bar and like your shoulders are shrugged and you're just like, somebody carry me. Steve did that at Pinch for me one night when we got drunk off 180 proof booze.
That was you. I didn't touch it. I was like,
Yeah,
I
no,
am
Steve was-
not. And that's when I got a guy kicked out because I blamed this guy for something. And the bouncers threw him out instead of Brad. It was
Yeah,
a good
no.
time.
So we won this night. We're drinking. Sorry, children, don't do this. But we're drinking, and I'm mixing these drinks like 50-50 with booze that's 95% alcohol. It's basically paint thinner.
You want to get the paint off your nails, you use this.
Yeah. And at one point, I couldn't feel my face. And I asked this girl that was at the party, and I was like, punch me in the face. She was like, what? I was like, punch me in the face. I can't feel it. She crow hopped and punched me in the face. And I woke up the next morning, my molar was loose.
I just want
Yes,
Brad to
lucky
know.
one.
Brad, I just want you to know somewhere on this computer, that video is there somewhere. I videotape this.
If you can find it, you should put it on Twitter. But anyway, so we're doing that. And then, like, we decide, okay, we're beyond messed up. Let's go to the bar. So we go to the bar, and I was in there for what? A minute, Steve?
You were in there enough for Ben to order a drink, and then you disappeared, and I said, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. So I run into the bathroom and throw up just everywhere.
On the wall, not even in the stall yet. That's where I come in.
It was just, yeah. So I throw up. Steve barges in, grabs me, gets me out of there. The guy who ends up being my boss at Pinch goes up to Steve and he was like, "Hey, who threw up in there?" And Steve points to just some random dude and got him kicked out.
Two bouncers literally picked this guy up and threw him because that Pinch has that fence opening. Just threw him out.
Yep. Yeah.
And then I walked Brad home, put him on a blanket over him, and I said, "I'll see you later." And my happy ass went back. I was like, "I'll see you later." I went back. Oh, you guys had to get up and go do something for cheerleading the next day.
No,
too.
we had to go. Okay. So this ugly mug, we had to go do a modeling thing the next day. Okay. So me and Ben Schmidt go, and I have a black eye from getting hit by this girl. And we go to this modeling thing. And I'm so drunk, we had to like walk a runway thing and I almost fell off. Like I couldn't walk a straight line. I couldn't tie my shoes. Like they gave us shoes to wear, and I couldn't tie them.
Oh, this is why I love visiting Carbondale. Because
We were doing that modeling thing for like 4 hours. Okay. Get back to the apartment, and we had a breathalyzer. I blew it, and I was at 0.09.
God.
Still. And it was like 1 in the afternoon.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
so anyway,
Yeah, back to sports. Mom,
basically the moral of the story is we've all been Tom Brady without the trophy at one point.
Thank you, Tom Brady.
I do want my Super Bowl now, though.
Whether it's at a place named after something that could kill a werewolf or otherwise, we've all been there.
Yep. All right. What's next on the old agenda here?
Let's just do it hot and heavy. This right here I'm very proud of because Brad's had a rant, Coach West has had a rant. We're waiting for me. But I said I remember texting you guys, you know what? This is a team rant. This isn't me. This is a team rant right here. So, Childs, put on your earmuffs, hide your wives, hide your kids.
We're going looking for dinner.
Steve, I think you should start this.
Well, I'm going to be all over the place. You guys have to say, whoa, hold on a second.
Go.
Because anybody listened to the last show, we all agreed every day we're going to shame and bully Michigan basketball. Now, you guys need to help me with this because I want to make sure we're right. The whole school was shut down, right? It wasn't just the men's basketball. It was the whole sports, right?
Yes. The Michigan Health Department came in and shut down their athletic department.
Okay. So that happened like, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? And they postponed some games. Now, here's where I get pissed off. If you keep saying postpone, that tells me you're going to play. You're not canceling them. You're saying you're going to try to play them later. So they postponed some games, and it comes to Illinois time. They pushed it 2 or 3 times, right? And then it got closer, and then all of a sudden we find out, we don't want to play no more. We're going to postpone this. We may not even play it. That's where we all came in, and Brad pointed it out and went off. And so we shamed them every day, I think, right? I think we were pretty good about it.
And weren't malicious about it. But
No.
I would say that the Michigan's men's basketball team is like a bunch of girls, but then that's an insult because their women's team actually played.
Well, that was the thing. So then Brad, who's our good resource guy for this, because sports has happened for me and Coach West, we're like, I have a game this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So like everything is just – Brad comes out and says the girls' team is playing.
They just wrestled on Friday.
And then the wrestling team just started. So then I saw a report where they asked Howard, how do you feel about playing like 11 games in a 20-day period or something? He said he's not comfortable with it.
Yeah, fuck him.
But then he comes out and says –
he goes on this big long
Juwan Howard is a product of recruiting violations that was just nothing but catered to at the Fab Five.
Well, no,
Yeah.
he goes on this big long rant about how, I'll play them outside in the snow.
and they're trying to – he's like, we're trying to find people to play, and we're going to play them on the blacktop. But then you come out and say, I'm not comfortable playing 11 games in like an 18, 20-day period.
Yeah, you know who else has to have a compressed schedule? Everyone else because of you guys.
Yeah.
Like Illinois
Listen.
has had these big long breaks and then has compressed in. And we're still going to have a string where we have like 5 games in 11 days.
And listen here, Howard. Illinois sports, you know how many basketball games we're all trying to compress in? These high school kids have to play games every other day. You guys can, if we can handle it, you can fucking handle it.
Well, up until last night, Wisconsin was still up in the air whether or not they were going to play.
You got to be shitting.
Yeah, they hadn't set a time because they were like, I don't know if we'll be ready.
What, Michigan said that?
Yes.
Okay, so that is my problem. We're not going to be ready. That's a coaching problem. That's not a COVID problem. You've been off for 12 or 14 days. You've been able to sit there and basically watch every Big Ten team multiple times play while you sat on your ass and did nothing. If you are not prepared at this point, you know what? You might be a little bit out of shape. You might not be like, you might have to knock some rust off. But if you're the number 3 team in the country, which is bullshit that you're there anyways, how somebody can move up in the polls by not playing. Just the whole freaking college voting poll structure needs kicked in the nuts.
Because then
we're moving up. At this point, everybody should just be done, and then we'll seat it and let it roll.
Because you can't. Oh, we need practice time. Practice the night before. Come in and do a walkthrough, and you're good to go. They're college athletes. You're number 3 in the nation, or at the time number 4, and then got moved up to number 3. I don't know how. Play.
Well, by not.
And
playing.
Illinois. Here's the difference. Brad Underwood would have, after that Nebraska game, the next day, if they had to play Michigan, he would have done it. They would have traveled to Michigan. That's the difference in the mindset of like Illinois versus Michigan and Howard. Like, you would think Howard would have that mindset from playing in the NBA and beyond the Fab Five. And then, like, I think, Coach West, you said this, does the head coach not have a say or not have a conversation with the athletic director about what's going on? Because Whitman and Underwood talk about it all the time.
Because if I am the head coach of my collegiate sport and I don't have a say, I'm going to probably be looking to go elsewhere. The other thing is, you want to know what? If I've got to X-nay some games, hey, sorry, Nebraska, we're probably not going to play you. We're going to make sure we schedule Illinois. We're going to play the games that actually matter in the Big Ten. Like, upsets happen, almost happened to Illinois. But when you basically alter your schedule, so the way that this works and it's the way that I do my schedule. So I periodize everything out. So yeah, COVID throws a whole loop in that. Then you start messing with games all over the place, and your peaking method that you have for your athletes is totally screwed up and blown up when you have to start rescheduling things. So you might as well, like, it just pisses me off. They are avoiding teams that matter to play teams that are bums. But now they're at the point where they've only played 2 ranked teams all freaking year, and one of them was Purdue that crept into the top 25 after their one victory the week before. They've played one legitimate ranked team. They are now in the beef of their schedule, and they are hiding. They are like a turtle, and they just went in their shell. And being rewarded for it because they went from 4 to 3, which there's no logic behind that. Please tell me how they got better. Because if they got better, their ass should have been playing.
And for people that are questioning it, there are Illinois fans out there, so shut the fuck up. And like that whole thing, I was in a good mood until all that. I was like, okay, we're having fun. Like keyboard warriors. We're not keyboard warriors. We say this on the podcast. Listen to it. We're talking about it. We don't just listen to it and you know what we're doing.
And it's not just Illinois fans.
No.
All of the Big Ten that has a halfway decent basketball team right now is saying, fuck you. Why aren't you playing these games?
Or funny Twitter account.
I don't blame Michigan's athletic department because clearly Michigan's athletic department gave everyone the green light to play. It's Juwan Howard made the decision. He can say it wasn't him as much as he wants, but it's very clear now that it was his decision to fucking just not play the game.
By his rhetoric, you can tell.
I
don't know if we'll be ready. Tell me, okay, so if you have a coach, most coaches always want that extra day of practice. Any fucking coach under the sun wants that extra day. And so I have a hard time believing that they weren't ready to go. Yeah, cardio might not have been great, but at the same time, you're the number 4 team in the country, and you had to play an unranked team before us that you back. Well, I guess they couldn't play. But you're the number 4 team in the country. We were in the teens at that point, or 12 or whatever. Like, if you're that good, you should be able to play us.
Yeah, if you're out of
the fact that we bent you over and whooped your ass twice last year, and that one in Illinois last year with that point guard not even wanting to get within 15 feet of the paint because Kobe was standing there to send his shit into the second row. I mean, They embarrassed them at the Assembly Hall, and then they iced in their vein their ass in Ann Arbor.
And you think it, and that's the thing that's like, I don't know how much experience you guys have with Michigan men, but they're the worst like fans in sports.
Them or Iowa. I go back and forth between those two.
You can say what you want about Auburn, who we all know you have a problem with. And like the amount of just, oh, hey, we're the pinnacle of all sports in the Big Ten. No, you're fucking not. You have like 2 strings of being worth a damn. Get the fuck over yourselves. Like, at this point, you're clearly ducking a top 10 team in the nation who you're talking about that point guard avoiding Kofi. You think that's going to be better now? Like, they're like, why would we be afraid of you? You almost lost to Nebraska. I'm like, yeah, but Kofi is 20-10 every game now. And you're going to deal with that?
My team needs to win. I'm just going to take it over. Like, I texted you guys. I said, Io just needs to take over with like 3 minutes to go. We'll go into overtime.
We're going to talk about Illinois here in a minute. I need to finish venting this Michigan shit out.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're a good basketball team. Clearly a good basketball team. But I don't know if you watched that fucking – I'm cursing a lot and I'm fired up. Did you watch the little video about Georgie over the summer, how he stayed in shape when they couldn't be in oven?
Yeah, it was that halftime that showed that.
He was doing squats with trees. You're going to tell me these dumb Michigan motherfuckers can't figure out something to do in their apartments to stay in shape?
And you can't tell me that the strength conditioning coach is not sending them stuff?
Their quarantine and like our quarantine are different things, right? They're a Division I athlete. They're going to get
the amount of money Michigan has. They could probably set up a fucking weight room in every single one of their apartments, and they would be fine.
A U-Haul shows up to each of their apartments and say, "Here's your weight room for today," and like set it up.
Yeah. Like,
and how many of those guys live together?
True, a bunch of them probably live together.
In an apartment that the school provides or a dorm or whatever, how many of them are not even probably in the same building? You can figure it out. Like,
which, by the way, Illinois, as of right now, is tied for first in the Big Ten.
Yes. Let's go Wisconsin.
Okay. If Michigan wins today, they're going to take back over first place. And it's the opposite problem we had with the football season. Football season, there was like too much leadership and they were meddling too much in the whole fucking thing. And this time, they're just not doing anything. They're like, we'll just let Michigan take it, even though they're just clearly not going to play these games. Which is bullshit. Like, and it's not like football where Ohio State was kind of clearly the best team in the conference. Like, you can't say that in the Big Ten basketball conference. You can't. Like, Ohio State might be the best basketball team in the conference.
Ohio State is I saw a tweet. This guy did something. They are scoring more points per 100 possessions than they did when they had like Connolly and Oden.
Exactly.
Which was one of the best scoring basketball teams ever.
And if you look at the Big Ten right now, like, Iowa is kind of an afterthought.
Which, by the way, all those people who are bitching about Illinois losing to Ohio State, you look like dumbasses now. But continue on, Brad.
No, that's really all I had. I just think, like, that fat motherfucker that called me a keyboard warrior, fuck that dude. Like, get the fucking Michigan dildo out of your ass and come back down to earth. Like, you clearly are just not living in this world right now if you think, Michigan's not afraid of playing Illinois.
Have you looked at Michigan's preseason schedule?
They took
Ball State, UCF, and Toledo.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, and skip the ACC Big Ten Challenge game.
So a bunch of Michigan people I was seeing were like, "Oh, Nebraska took you to overtime."
Well, it's not, and what pisses me off, it's not Michigan fans. It's just people that don't like Illinois are coming out of the woodwork all of a sudden. And it's like, where the fuck have you been? Then they want to say, like, me and Nathan got in that conversation. Oh, well, you got blown out by Baylor. Well, at least we played fucking Baylor, and we tried to reschedule them again.
Yeah. And you want to talk about us going to overtime with Nebraska? You went to overtime with Oakland.
And lost to Minnesota.
Yes. Like, eat a bag of dicks.
And not just lost to Minnesota, like, got your ass slapped by Minnesota. 20-point loss. 18 points, technically. I rounded for the Michigan idiots that don't know how rounding fucking works.
Okay.
But in all seriousness, Michigan can't back out of any of these games. This is their remaining schedule. So they got Wisconsin today. They got Rutgers, who's kind of, they're in the tournament, but a good win against Michigan would look good. Then they play Ohio State. They have Indiana, who's fighting for their tournament lives. Then they play Iowa, who's going to want to be in that upper echelon of the Big Ten. And then they got Michigan State, who will probably slap their cheeks one time just for the hell of it.
And in between all those, there's days in between. I know Illinois will play in between there, but Illinois will schedule it. Like, between now and Rutgers is till the 18th. And then between the 18th and 21st, they'll play, like, somewhere in there, you could schedule.
Between the 21st and the 27th, go February 24th. What does Illinois' schedule look like? What are we doing?
I know they play, like, in between those, but it's not like it's like back to back. It's like, play, take a 2-day practice, and then play again. Like,
no, we play the 20th, 23rd, 24th, and 27th.
Oh.
Fuck you, Michigan. Talk about 11 games in 20 days. Fuck.
And then
Juwan Howard's a pussy. I'd say that to his face right now. He'd knock me out. But he's a fucking pussy.
He wouldn't. Did you watch Nate? Everybody acts like basketball players are actually tough. Did you watch Nate Robinson get the shit beat out of him by the YouTube guy?
Yeah.
Basketball players ain't tough. And Juwan Howard has been basically kicked to his entire collegiate career because he's part of the Fab Five. Probably got inappropriate benefits because you don't assemble a team in the middle of freaking Michigan out of nowhere without doing that. And then, continuing on, he was catered to his entire NBA career because those guys surround themselves with – he's a big pussy. He's just been a pussy. He's always going to be a pussy. That's the way it is.
I must say one nice thing. I actually did like Juwan Howard as a player.
I had no problem with him until he became a head coach at Michigan. Then it's like, oh.
I didn't even have a problem with him until all of this.
Well, even last year, I didn't like the way – like, I don't know. There's something about him being a coach. I was like,
He's protecting that record because he thinks that matters. But what they don't realize is March Madness happens. And if you don't play good teams, when you get to that tournament, you can get crept up on by an 8 or a 9 seed and look really freaking stupid.
And then if you get
the Big Ten tournament's going to be a freaking meat grinder.
Yes.
I mean, that is going to be a hell of a – like, I'll have that on in my class every day.
And if we're being honest, like, because Big Ten, how many people get a first-round bye? Is it top 3?
Or is it top – I think 1 and 2, like 2 buys. Because they only got to play like 2 games to be in. I can't remember how it works, but it pays to be the 1 or the 2 seed.
So if Michigan like ducks more games, would you be happy if they won the Big Ten but they didn't get a bye?
No. Because if they win the Big Ten, then they have the argument, well, we were number one in the Big Ten. We deserve the number one seed.
You've had enough of a break, though, these past 3 weeks.
I'm telling you, they will go. I hope I could see them going 2-4 in these next games because they ain't played nobody. They have to play at Wisconsin today. They're going to play Rutgers with the healthy Ron Harper. Then they got to play Ohio State. Like I said, Indiana, there's a thing to having to play for something. Indiana is one of those schools that's going to have to. And that kid that they got in the middle, I have a lot of respect for him. Very athletic, big man. He's a good-ass player. And then they got Iowa, who has kind of had a little bit of a letdown here lately. But you think Luka Garza in March is just going to shut down so Michigan can roll over them? No. No.
And they're going to make me root for Ohio State. Like, God damn it, Michigan.
I'm going to tell you right now, I am a fan of every other school that Michigan plays, and I hope they beat them by 20.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they went like 0-6? Like they just lost their next 6 games. No, they won't lose their next 6 games because after they lose 2, they'll take the Ohio State game off and the Indiana game off and then come back and play fucking Iowa.
Oh, I didn't realize they're at Wisconsin today.
Yeah.
And even without people there, that stadium, like, that's a hard place to play.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me all these teams are not pumped up to be like, you know what? We hate you right now because what you.
I think they're the common enemy.
Yeah.
I think they really are.
And if people like sub talk about you on social media, does that mean you made it? Does that mean we've made it?
We got our number one haters. It's just what pisses me off is Michigan fans are just so freaking entitled. And it's like you had Jim Beeline, great, or was it Beeline? Yeah, great coach.
Yeah.
Great coach. But what were you before he got there? You had the Fab Five before that, and then what'd you have before that?
Well, they won a championship right before the Fab Five.
Did they really?
Yeah, people forget the year the Fab Five were freshmen, they won a championship the year before.
But again, it's kind of like Michigan and Notre Dame people, they live in that moment of we did this in the 90s or the 80s, so this is our expectation. Well, now it's 2021. Like Ohio State can sit there and say, we've done this in the past and we're up to that level. Alabama can say that.
The 90s weren't too bad. They won the championship in 88, 89. And then and then they had a drought until Beeline got there. Because they had Brian Ellerby who didn't do shit. So from 98 through 2008, there was a 10-year drought there where they didn't do shit. Kind of like our 10-year drought where we didn't do shit.
And if we're being honest, like I said, the Michigan fans are a little annoying. Like Illinois fans are annoying too. Like we think we're more than we are sometimes.
Well, I hate Illinois fans who want to like shit on our team when they don't do well. But it's like we're 2 years removed from being the butthole of the Big Ten. Or 3 years, because Io's a junior. So the year before Io, we were the butthole of the Big Ten. Like everybody just come in, take a dump, and then move on.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get A section tickets for anybody who doesn't know the Assembly Hall. That's 100 level now for like $30 during those times. I was at those games. I got front row floor tickets in the Orange Crush for $12.
Yeah, like Illinois does not like it's very fair weather.
Yes.
Fans, which hurts because like my whole life when I lived close, like I didn't have the money for tickets.
Yeah.
But now I have money for tickets and I'm 3 hours away.
Yeah.
And I still might get football season tickets.
Yeah. I have him. I love him. And I know how to make game day better. Check this podcast, Josh Whitman. But I think Illinois fans, so there's like certain coaches that don't know how. So like a game is like this, and there's certain coaches who can ride that just plain. I think Illinois fans are the roller coaster. They don't know how to deal with success, and they really don't know how to deal with failure either.
Which, if we're talking about like good, steady coaching, I give Brad Underwood a lot of credit for that Nebraska game.
Yeah.
Because he clearly like had a game plan and it didn't work to start. They were trying to feed Kofi.
Yep.
And I guess we can actually start talking about Illinois basketball now. But like, you said it a couple times, like in our text thread, like Nebraska was doing all of those little things 100% correctly.
Yes.
Like if Nebraska was going to win a Big Ten game, that was going to be it. And I give them a lot of credit. They played like crazy.
They played their ass off.
They are a very long team.
Yes, they're very long. And like I sent that text because I was watching it. I was like, oh my God, these are the best box outs I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Every one of them box out. They didn't cherry pick. It was like everybody will get the rebound now.
Well,
because
that's kind of how it should be.
Well, that's Illinois' Achilles heel. If Illinois doesn't rebound well, they're going to struggle. So Nebraska was like, let's take this away and just run our offense and make sure it's playing like football. Like football, when another team is really good on offense, you play keep away.
Yep.
That's what they wanted to do from Illinois. Like, we don't want this to happen.
Yeah.
And it's Big Ten. You can't overlook anybody in the Big Ten. So these people that wanted to say we're keyboard cowards, where are you at now during this thing? It's the Big Ten. I don't care if Nebraska hasn't won a Big Ten game in 20-some games. You can't overlook anybody.
And they had a graduate transfer that just became eligible before the game too, right? Or like a transfer from another school. And that's the other thing is certain guys give you a spark that you may not have had before. And so when it's easy to know the devil but when somebody has something coming back or somebody new coming out for the team, that changes a lot. And can you just be honest? Nebraska threw some shit up where I was like, how in the hell did that go in?
It was like the Missouri game. That's what I was thinking to myself. I was like, this is Missouri all over again.
Yeah. But I would say it wasn't quite Missouri because I don't think we were flat.
No, I just meant like Missouri couldn't miss. And so I was like, oh, Nebraska can't miss right now. So we cannot afford.
One off the front of the rim and it somehow went boop, boop. And I was like, what the hell is happening right now?
Yeah. I do think that like it was a little scary to watch us get out rebounded.
Yeah.
Like to that level. And our transition defense, like if you let their point guard go coast to coast,
not good.
It's not great.
That guy was having the game of his life though.
Oh, he was playing out of his mind. Their whole team was playing out of their mind.
Which, you want to know what? I was ready to eat crow after that because I was like, yep, Illinois is good, but Nebraska was better than us on this night. Like, they played their ass off. Really? Nebraska probably – they played their ass off. And like you said, I don't think Illinois was flat. I think Nebraska was like, let's get one. Like, let's do everything perfect for 40 minutes and see what happens.
And – Illinois, we have very athletic guards, but they're short.
Yep.
And I think a lot of length, like you saw that during Baylor.
Yep.
Baylor is one of those teams that has like all of their guys are 6'5" to 6'9", and they're long and fast and athletic. And it looks like that's the way Nebraska's trying to build their program. And it bothered us. Like you saw it on like post feeds to Kofi. Our guards are having a hard time getting him the ball. Like they were kind of a matchup problem for us.
Yeah.
In general. And only 5 players scored for Illinois. Like let that sink in. So you had Kofi with 21, Io had 31, Miller had 10, Trent had 10, and then Coleman Hawkins had 5.
Which great spark from him. Kind of that little stretch that he had.
He is very much a freshman.
Yeah.
Like, I like the energy, and he hit a 3.
Dude, when he went coast to coast, I was like, what is this? And he's 6'10". He hasn't even filled out yet. I mean,
he's got a little bit of the hunchback going on.
Tisdale.
Yeah, he's going to be the next Mike Tisdale.
Don't say that.
I would never put that on. Like, I think he ran faster in this game than Mike Tisdale ever dreamt of running.
I think he ran faster dribbling the ball and weaving through traffic than Mike Tisdale ever did in a 40-yard dash.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts on Curbello's bounce back game? Because, like, I talked last time, is this like Curbello going down from here on out? Like, he did not have a good game again.
He needs to figure out that he can't leave his feet and do crazy things because people are starting to figure him out. It's kind of like the devil you know. In the beginning, he could do a lot of this because people weren't expecting it. But Division I coaches, and if you got a staff that's like Underwood, you know, where every guy has kind of got his thing, you don't think that they don't have a scouting report where it's, hey, he's going to dribble, he's going to get under the backboard, and just don't leave your man. Just lock up because he has nobody to throw it to. So once he gets to a certain spot, just lock up, don't leave, and just know that he's going to throw it away. He's going to do something crazy. And I think that's the thing is he's got to reel that in a little. As creative as it is and as flashy as it is, he does need to reel it in just a bit because I think people are wising up to it. Like I've got 100%er on a kid right now. We're getting ready to play a game, and it's like they'll drive with their left, but then they're going to spin right back to their right. And you don't think that we ain't going to coach that. And we're going to send help. As soon as they get this to this certain spot in the lane, they're going to spin back to their right because they won't finish with their left. So my defender knows I'm just going to create this overplay to where they think, oh, I'm just going to spin to my right. You just have a defender come in, swipe the ball, and you're off to the races. And when you have something like that, you know, people have to change their game.
So after the game, Underwood said 2 things that I thought were really cool. The first one he's kind of said before. He was like, my job at the end of the game with Io is to stay out of his way and let him win the game.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, that's good coaching to me. Like, you don't do that a lot, but when you have a player of the year candidate, like, let him go win the game. And then he was like a little coy about it, but he was like, listen, towards the end of the game, I didn't even call a play. We knew they were going to try to stop him from going right. And he was like, I wasn't born last week. We're going to keep running it until you stop it. And they couldn't stop it.
Yeah, because they ran that same set 4 or 5 times in a row. They were just like, oh, just drive to the basket, get fouled.
Well, if they are not making adjustments, why should you try something different?
No, keep doing it.
If they're ineffective in defending it, you just continue to run it. And then they defend it, and then, okay, well, shit, now we got to make an adjustment.
And go ahead.
I just want to say one funny thing. I'm going to bring Mike Leach into this. That out-of-bounds play where all 5 were out of bounds, and they all sprinted, stopped, and came back, I was like, that's 6. That's Mike Leach's 6. And then so somebody tagged Bioma. They're like, did you see that player? You taking notes? He goes, I took notes. And like he's like, I have my notebook.
You know, that's the other thing that I love about all of this. You had Corey Patterson and Aaron Henry from the football coaching staff tweeting about the gymnastics team.
Yeah.
And tweeting about the basketball team and the women's basketball team.
Men's tennis.
Yeah. You know, let's keep it rolling. Like, so Steve, I don't know if your coach has talked to you about it yet, but obviously the tight end coach called us or called Coach Goodlove. Talk to him for a half an hour for a team that's never sent a kid to the U of I, but talk to him for a half an hour about the conference and about this isn't like this. Hey, I'm such and such from Illinois. 5 minutes later, well, I got to go. No, these are genuine conversations. People need to understand that. This is something we haven't seen.
Yeah, they're talking to coaches some coaches have told me they've talked for an hour or so.
If you've got kids that can go there, they're going to talk to you longer.
Yeah, but it's like at least in a half hour to an hour conversation. And you know how many coaches they're calling? How many coaches are in Illinois? A lot.
Everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so down here, like, I don't know, did you see all those coaches that kind of like showed on the map?
Yeah.
Aaron Henry is the coach that's calling down here, and he has a big area. There's like down here is kind of like back home. There's a lot of small schools.
Mm-hmm.
And his first one that he had to call, he just tweeted out, he was like, hey, does anyone know how to get a hold of this dude? Like, every like athletic department head in Southern Illinois was like, here's everyone's contact information. Like immediately. And you can tell like that this whole part of the state is super jazzed up.
Well, I think the entire state is, to be honest, because my buddy who coaches up at Providence Catholic up in Chicago said they never saw the Illinois. You know how many they never saw the Illinois staff. You know how many kids you know how many kids they've sent to Iowa? They have a kid going to Minnesota and never really saw the University of Illinois. How does that happen?
Well, like the quarterback that left from up here in Chicago to go to IMG Academy and start. Yeah. They never saw Illinois come get him.
JJ McCarthy?
Yeah, not once did Illinois show up.
Nope. And it boggles my mind. Why are you not trying?
Like Komet, who went to Notre Dame and then for the Bears, Illinois never tried to get him. Not once. Like, you're not looking at that's football, but still.
That's everybody, but everybody's thinking that like, oh, it's Illinois, it's this, it's that, it's the other. You know how many there are kids in this state that do have a pride of being from Illinois.
Right.
And if you're not even reaching out to those kids, if you're just saying, well, we ain't going to get them, we can't beat an Iowa, we can't beat a Wisconsin. If you're already giving up there, then what the hell you think you're going to do on a Saturday? You can't even throw your hat in the ring for a recruiting battle. But yet you're going to go out and try and play against that kid later on?
And Io's from Chicago and Illinois. Good job, Brett Underwood, getting some Illinois kids. Like,
well, that's the other thing is yeah.
I mean, yeah, Io's from Chicago. Was he the Illinois Player of the Year, Mr. Basketball?
Yep.
So we have two Mr. Basketballs on this team.
From Illinois.
From Illinois.
Yeah.
Like,
and we had a third, but Smith left.
Well, yeah. But then we have the New York Mr. Basketball, too.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like, I don't know.
Can Howard do that at Michigan? Fuck no. Too
Probably
soft.
Too scared to go recruit. Hey, we need you to delay National Signing Day.
But you can meet us at the Blacktop.
Yeah, we're going to do National Signing Day from the local high school cafeteria. That's not my school. We'll go there.
Yeah. Now, so Io obviously has to be National Player of the Year contender now, right?
How can he not be?
And Garza only scored 8 points in their last game.
Ooh.
In a win. Like, Iowa won, and Garza scored 8 points. And it has to be said, like, Illinois beats some of these teams, and then they fall apart for, like, 5 games.
Yeah.
Like, Duke may never be the same.
And we did that.
All-Americans. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, they're young, but, like, Illinois made them quit.
when you get McDonald's All-Americans,
It doesn't matter.
they're normally not around long enough to not be young.
And like, I've watched a couple Iowa games after Illinois played them, and they just don't look the same.
They
I
like
think that was
they
their
hit-
Super Bowl.
yeah.
Think about it. That's what we were all talking about from the beginning of the year.
They hit a wall like right before Illinois. It was like a couple games before Illinois. They like hit this wall, and it's like we're really good, and then we make stupid. Like Illinois make stupid mistakes, but like they hit that wall, and it's like they can't. They're not getting better. Like we're getting better, which is a good thing, good sign.
Here's the other thing that I wonder, and so this is just, in kind of my philosophy thing. All the videos of Garza's dad basically just running him into the floor every day. Is Garza like, has all that catching up now?
Makes you think.
Does he need a day off?
From the sounds of it, like his dad is hyper involved,
Yes.
which
Could be good, but could be bad.
Because we all know
seems
plenty
like
of
it's bad.
because we have all known plenty of dads that get involved and it's terrible. But there's a couple I know that get involved, but they know when to back off.
Yes. And you just look and it's just like he's just like it's like the old Rocky shit, And it's like Garza is a really good big man. He doesn't need the Rocky shit.
No.
That's just something that I think is interesting. And I think of all those videos they had. And, he's working hard. He's working hard. He's working hard. Has he worked himself out?
Almost you worked yourself out of shape.
Well, like overtraining.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I just did that at home. Like, had too many big elliptical days, and I was like, I got to stop.
Yeah.
Look,
Like,
Jack says, I'm dehydrated. I laughed. You're like, I'm dehydrated, and this Illinois game is not helping. This is not.
Well, no, like I had to stop myself the other day because I was working out and I quit sweating.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
And
not good.
I go in like full sweats, and I have a heater that I turn on like right in front of me. So like when I stop sweating, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So I stopped, and I was like halfway through a bottle of water trying to watch that Illinois game, and like my palms are sweating because I was so nervous. I was like, I'm not sweating anywhere else, just palms.
Now, Brad, let's not go back to that. Let's eat 3 crackers and never eat again days. We can't be doing that.
That is very different. Like I fuel correctly now. It's just
Okay.
Food. I say this as a dietitian. Like food can only do so much. Like you have to let your body recover at a certain point.
Yep.
But let's not go back to drinking jacked and then eating 3 crackers. Jacked with the backwards 3. Like, let's not be doing that.
I was
That
watching
good stuff.
Steve. I sent you that stupid TikTok video.
Oh my God, those get stuck in my head. So
Oh my God. Yeah. But I was scrolling through, and a big thing now is like they don't mix the pre-workout. They take the scoop, throw it directly in their mouth, and drink water.
Dry scooping thing has been a thing this COVID quarantine. Like, because they're working out from home. So they're just like, oh. And then they drink water.
Bold.
I remember one time when I was in grad school, I shouldn't say this live on air, but I'm going to. We had a big like 5-gallon bottle of powdered caffeine, like pure powdered caffeine. And like I had just pulled an all-nighter. I had to go to class. And I like crack nailed some out of there and like stuck it in my lip. And you want to talk about like shoot you off to the moon.
You Dogecoined it.
Yo, you better believe it. To the moon.
Or that one time we all took pre-workout and then had some adult drinks right after. And it was like, oh, this is not supposed to happen.
You all don't even
remember what that was?
Remember Sparks, the energy beer?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, do you remember original Four Loko?
Oh, that's when I woke up in a
That
bush
stuff
somewhere.
killed people.
That's where we had it. When you had it, and you're like, there's nothing in this, and you drink 4 or 5 of them.
That's what I was gonna say. There's a thing in cheerleading. We call it 16 loco, where you have to drink 4 locos. You want to talk about ruin your life?
Like wake up in a bush without your shoes, life.
Yes.
And a sore back.
And a sore back.
Damn.
We're getting to the adult version, and we have athletes. We need to stop.
Yeah. Last
But
thing
we're
about
old enough.
Illinois, Grandison started again. He only played 5 minutes. After the game, they asked Underwood about it, and he was like, "The kid can't defend a back cut, so he's probably not going to start again." Just straight up said it. He was like, "We worked." I think exactly what he said is like, "We worked on that all week," and then he came in and gave up 2 in a row. So yeah, he's not going to play. Like, good for you.
Is he will put him in there at some point to get like it isn't like he's pigeonholed the rest of the year.
No, but he's got to earn his time back.
What I like is that Underwood. You know what? If Grandison scored 10 points and still allowed that to happen, he'd still be on the bench because he prides that defense so much.
Well, and every time he pulls Curbelo, it's never because of anything he does offensively.
Yep.
He always says is like he wasn't guarding his man defensively. I can't have him out there.
Yep.
I love Brad Underwood because he knows how to talk to each kid the way they need to be talked to, it seems like. Because he doesn't always he takes Curbelo underneath his arm. Some players he can't do that with. He knows I have to yell at them, I have to just talk to them, or I just let them walk away for a second. And then I love how he can do all that, but then treat them all the same. Like, if they don't do something he likes, they could have 25 points. He's like, nope, go get me water. Like, you're not doing this.
Well, that's what I like. I think he just has a standard.
Right.
You either meet the standard or you're not going to play.
That's kind of like the coaches I work for now. There's things that have happened in these varsity games because I just kind of help out. We sit there, me and the other sophomore coach, we just kind of help out. There's times like just recently I would have lost it, like just yelled and lost it. The head coach calls a timeout. Instead of yelling, he just straight up tell them what they did wrong. And he goes, this is on you. Like, I can't fix it for you. I can tell you how to fix it, but you have to do it. So if you want to take the ball and do these little jab steps and look like an idiot, go ahead. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm like, is this what Brad Underwood does sometimes? Like, this is great. Like, back in the day, I would have just lost it.
I think the big thing about being a good coach is that you can point out what they're doing wrong and tell them that they're in control of it.
Right. And that's why
because when kids are empowered that they control their situation, they play a lot better. And so that's, I mean, it's happened to me. Of course, I coach girls, so it's a little bit different, you know, because if I even raise my voice to somebody who hasn't, you know, had a voice raised, or I talk a little louder, they think they're in trouble kind of thing. And I don't like that because sometimes I project a little louder if I'm talking to everybody, but it's something that you did. But I think that's a big thing is like empowering your athletes to know that they're in control.
Right. Because this
varsity, so you control your destiny.
Right. Because this varsity coach has been at the school since 1988 or 1989 when it opened and has been the head coach ever since. So I'm like, oh, okay. You know, like he knows something that I don't know. And so I just watch it and I'm like, oh.
Well, longevity in coaching is not that common anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and so to be around that long, he's probably, you know what? He probably was somebody who ripped some ass back in the 80s, you know, late 80s. And then you see how kids respond. And I think that's my biggest thing. Now, if I feel like they are giving if it's a lack of effort and making bonehead plays, I never have an issue with anything as long as there's effort being put forth. As soon as you get lazy, now I'm going to harp on you a little bit. But if you're trying as hard as you can, because I'm on my girls every day in practice, it's game-like focus. If you're in a drill, it's game-like focus. If you're in the back of the line, you can chat with a friend. I really don't care. But when you're in the drill, it's game-like focus. When you're shooting free throws, it's game-like focus. And so if I don't see game-like focus, you know, because obviously they need breaks, like mentally, right? You just can't be locked in game-like for an hour and a half. Please, if somebody can do that, good to you, and you're filling yourself full of shit. But when they're in a drill, when they're shooting free throws, or they're doing, and it's game-like focus, and you control the situation. So I tell the kids the cues that I use to get them to fix stuff. Right. So now all of a sudden I've got a kid over here because I can't watch 20 girls at a time, but she can say, hey, you need to use your legs more on your shot. Hey, you need to follow through better. Like that kind of stuff. And they all know the cues. So they just coach each other. And they know it's not to pick at one another. We have constructive criticism, and I am very honest. Like I had to look at a girl yesterday in practice, and we were going over a press break just if down the road. And I just said, I'm probably not going to have you on the floor in a press break because I know you don't necessarily handle pressure very well, and I don't want you to fail. And she's like, okay, he sees that, so he's going to kind of protect me. But then when I tell her, take the freaking shot because you're open, oh, well, he's telling me that. And I think that's kind of what Underwood does. He knows how to manage all of that. And I think he's honest. And I think a lot of our kids get so smoke blown up their ass into something. They get told that they're something that they're not. And I think what they really need is genuine honesty. And Underwood at first he was a yeller with that, but I think now he's understood, okay, this is the kids I'm recruiting. These are the kids. This is how I'm going to curtail this.
Yep.
I thought he was going to get teed up in that game. When he ran out onto the court because Io got shoulder checked out of the lane. And then the ball's like on the opposite end of the court, and Underwood's still like, how was that not a foul?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Kofi forearm shivered a dude on the rebound, but you also need to call Io getting.
You need to call the first one. If you call the first one, the second one don't happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which every big man in the Big Ten has to be super mad at that dude from Indiana, right? Like, he dunked on Kofi, and this is like a crazy different level. Like, I knew he was explosive. I knew he's big. I know he's strong. I know he's fast. But we've never seen him, like, aggressive.
Like
and he's
Shaq.
defending well on the perimeter, too.
Like
his perimeter defense has gotten so much better since the beginning of the year.
That, and then to pull a Shaq and like, oh, I'm going to take a hard dribble, spin off of you, and one hand dunk on you and just stare at you. Like, that wasn't happening at the beginning of the year. He would have tried to sky hook it. Now he's like, nah, I'm going to break the backboard. I want to break this rim.
I want him to.
Just rip it down.
Just
see, with the breakaway rims, though, it's going to be hard. Like, rims have been designed because Shaq.
But it still happens.
Could he do it if Michigan would grow a set of balls and play? I think Kofi would have done it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's when Kofi would have done it.
Well, like, it wasn't this game. Who did we play before this?
Wisconsin, right?
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
He dunked in that Wisconsin game, and I swear to God, I watched the whole backboard. Like,
that was when the rim is like here. He pulled it all the way down, and then the backboard started to do this, and you're like, oh, there it goes. And then it just bounced back.
That was a Shaq thing. That was a Shaq moment because Shaq's pulled down full hoops.
Yeah, because you can, like,
tilt them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there is a little bit of Kobe and Shaq thing going on in a good way. Like, you have a freak athlete who's almost unguardable because of his size, speed, and athleticism. And then you have a mental killer on the outside. And it's just like shades of that Lakers team that I hated so much.
But Robert Horry, though. Is that DeMonte Williams?
We need the true MVP of those teams, which was, who was their point guard, Steve, that you love to bring up?
Me? I don't bring up the point guard.
No, you always talk about how bad their point guard was. Who was their point guard?
I did Derek Fisher.
No, it wasn't. Not Derek Fisher.
Are you talking about Smush Parker?
Yes, Smush Parker.
Oh, that was after Shaq left. Like, that guy and Kwame Brown were better than. We are all better than Kwame Brown.
Kwame Brown was rough.
Kwame Brown Parker was big man with small hands.
Yeah,
wasn't that part of his issue? Like, they said that his hands weren't big enough.
Yeah, and then Kobe, if you read the book, Kobe yelled at him and he went and sat down and like put his head in his hands and like couldn't handle being yelled at. So they were like, he was
He was
weak.
the first overall. He had been catered to since high school. He was one of the last ones that came out first pick overall from high school.
And he was on that.
Brown was supposed to be great.
He was on that Wizards team with Michael Jordan too.
Oh, was he really?
And you talk about not being able to handle Kobe yelling at you.
Well, but Jordan then was probably like, I'm here because,
I've got gambling debt.
But the thing is like
golf debt.
Golf debt.
But Jordan was probably toned down because he knew he wasn't. He wanted to win, but it's kind of like if Aaron Rodgers was to go to like the New York Giants. It's like, I'm good. I'm the greatest ever, but unfortunately, probably not going to win with the Giants. The Relentless book, you'll understand that, Steve. You need to read that one. Read that one.
I'm reading that one first.
Read it soon because it gives you an appreciation and it helps you look at people through a different lens, especially your athletes.
And I love how on the front is a Kobe Bryant quote, so I had to get it.
What, from the Grover guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's worked with Kobe, Dwayne Wade, basically anybody who was anything in the league. He has worked with them to get them ready to play.
Tim Grover knows more than anybody about the mental side of sports. This book is the blueprint for discovering what you are capable of achieving, getting results you never imagined, reaching the highest level of success, and then going even higher. Kobe Bryant.
It most definitely kind of shaped the way that I've done some things. Just because if I have a kid, so he talks about like cleaners and that kind of stuff. And so I know my girls that are cleaners and I don't approach a non-cleaner with a cleaner situation.
Because it's too much for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can be a great player. You can be the best player on the team, but you're not a cleaner. Cleaners are just a different mindset. The cleaners, yeah.
That kind of sounds like the Above the Line book with Urban Meyer because he talks about like I cannot remember what he put them in different categories. He said you have your Tim Tebow's, which are this 5%. It's kind of like what was it? It was like an 80-15-5 thing he had. So like 80% were the ones you can't save or fix. Then you got the 15%ers, which are like they're good players, but they're not. Then you got the 5%ers are like your Tim Tebow's, your Michael Jordans, your Kobe Bryant's, your LeBron James. Like those guys are different. And I cannot remember what he categorized them as, but it's similar to that. And like Io and them are in that percentage. Like those guys are just built different.
It's got to be fun as a coach, though. Like as a coach to have that guy and just like, well, this is Io's time. I'm just going to get out of the way.
Yeah, but Brad, like some coaches,
so here's
though,
the rules. I'll read you the rules to the cleaner. You keep pushing yourself harder when everyone else has had enough. When you're in the zone, you shut everything out and control the uncontrollable. You know exactly who you are. You have a dark side that refuses to be taught good. You're not intimidated by pressure. You thrive in it. When everyone is hitting the in case of emergency button, they're all looking for you. You don't compete with anyone. You find your opponent's weakness and you attack. You make decisions, not suggestions. You know the answer while everyone is still asking questions. You don't have to love the work, but you're addicted to the results. You'd rather be feared than liked. You trust very few people, and those you trust better never let you down. You don't recognize failure. You know there's more than one way to get what you want, and you don't celebrate your achievements because you always want more. That's a cleaner.
Which that's like Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Kobe. He said Kobe was a cleaner. Yeah. Tom Brady was a cleaner. Yeah. Dwayne Wade, he said, was a cleaner. Dwayne Wade. Yeah, Dwayne Wade's body just kind of broke down. Like he goes into the book and he talks about trying to get Dwayne Wade ready for the last little run with the Heat and like how much he had to put in for that. Like there was a lot that he had to do to get him ready.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
'Cause
because
those knees-
his knees just gave out, right?
Yeah, those knees weren't holding up anymore.
Which I will never forget. What was it? D Wade playing. It might have been Shaq with the Lakers, and they came up and Shaq tried to dunk on because it was a one-on-one. Shaq was on a switch and ended up with D Wade on him. Drop stepped and D Wade jumped up and blocked his dunk. Shaq got the ball back. D Wade jumped up again and blocked it again.
Yeah.
It was the most impressive thing I've ever seen.
Considering we watched Dikembe Mutombo, who was probably one of the best shot blockers of all time, get just absolutely obliterated by Shaq.
Yeah. And D Wade's what, 6'3"?
Yeah, 6'3", 6'4".
Like he's undersized nowadays for a two guard
Yeah.
in the NBA. Like that was just one of the coolest defensive plays I've ever seen in the NBA.
But whereas most people would just get out of the way, let Shaq do his dunk and go back on, it was, no, we ain't doing this. Dude, she's getting big, man.
She is big. And the problem is she's big now and she like realizes she can just put her feet up on me and, oh, hey, I want to be involved in everything.
I can reach this table now.
Mm-hmm. She took some leftovers off the counter the other day. That was real fun.
Oh.
Yeah, you're at that stage now where it's like you can't leave anything.
Yeah.
That's how Hazel was. Oh, I can go back on my hind legs and just eat.
Thankfully, our dogs don't do that.
No, you have two very well-behaved dogs.
Steve met my dogs one time, but they were trying to climb on him, so he's like, shh.
I still have the scars, I think. Well, no, because I try to respect people's dogs. So when I came in, you were like, hey, they might jump on you. Just tell them to get off because they can't be doing that. So I was trying to help out, but I felt bad. They just wanted to play. And I'm like, oh, I want to play.
No, they love people.
I was like, but your owner said to get the fuck off me. And then I left and I was like, I just look like I got attacked by cats. Is what it looked like.
Yeah. No. Well, that's the bad thing is like Izzy, she like grabs. So she'll like grab you.
Maybe but they were young. That was the St. Joe house. They were young.
Yeah, they were young then. Yeah, Brad's experienced the 4-year-old dogs, which is still energetic, but
they're perfect dogs, though.
Hazel just turned 7 the other day.
Wow, you're getting old, buddy.
She acts like she's 4.
No, that's okay.
The only way
Christina posted that photo, and she's got a little gray in the snout.
There's gray here, but like the only way you can tell that she's old is when she wanted to play when she was young. It was like she's gonna try for an hour. Like you're gonna play. Now it's like she'll try for like 5 minutes, and if we're just not into it, like if we're back, like if I'm back from home from a game, I'm just sitting there. Oh, I'll go to sleep. That's the only way you could tell that she's getting older.
Yeah.
But when she's got the energy, boom, 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 and she's 92 pounds, like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
She's a big girl too, man.
Oh. One time we went to the vet, they said she was like 93 pounds and she needs to go lose some weight. We go on 2 walks a day. In the morning, we go on a half-hour walk. In the afternoon, a half-hour walk. Got her down to like 85 pounds. I was pretty proud.
I feel like the vet telling your dog needs to lose weight is like the physical therapist when you're having a knee problem that says, oh, you have weak glutes. They always say the dogs need to lose weight. Like, I have no clue how, like, our boy dog could maybe lose a couple pounds, but he's got a bigger frame than our girl dog, and they expect him to weigh the same as her. And it's like, dude, our girl dog's a brick shit house. There ain't much fat on her at all. And our boy dog has a way bigger head and a way bigger body than she does.
Yeah. Like, Hazel has like extra skin, so she could have grown more. So she has the frame to be huge.
Yeah.
That's her dad's a chocolate lab who's probably like 130 pounds. The dad was a brick house. Like, if that dog ran at you, you moved because it was going to knock you down. But then the mom was a silver lab, which was smaller. So that's where it's coming from, is the thickness is coming from the dad, and then she grew and just stopped. That's from the mom.
That's what, like, Sadie's dad is probably 100 pounds, 110, and his feet are like
Mixed.
like not even, and he's 2 years old now and still hasn't like grown into his frame. He's just huge. And her mom, Duchess, is probably 95. Like for a female shepherd, that's big.
That's big.
And like when they were puppies, Rick would go out there and like he'd fry a bunch of bacon in the morning and then just like pour the bacon grease into their puppy chow. And, like makes big dogs.
Yeah. Those breeders, they do that.
Yeah, he would take a multivitamin every day and crush it up and put it in each of their foods. And it like helps their frame get bigger.
Right.
But yeah, now she's gonna be a monster because like she's big now, but she's got so much skin.
Oh yeah.
It's just
what we saw her like 2 weeks ago, and now it's like her head's starting to fit the ears.
oh yeah.
2 weeks ago, the ears were like you could see the ears and didn't have a clue where the eyes were, and now, yeah, we're way off.
Well, have you seen like bodybuilders? They'll go buy like Chipotle chicken, like a whole bowl of Chipotle chicken. That's what their dogs eat. They're on the same diet, so they buy like the chicken or steak from Chipotle, the big bowl, and that's all their dogs eat.
Oh wow.
She's down here eating my coat.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Coach-
We had to train Hazel. We had to send her away for 2 months to get trained. It was so bad. Like, didn't live with us. We had to let her live there.
Yeah.
But we got to visit every day. And like, because she did that. Like when she jumped on the table with all four paws on the table with no chair, just straight up, we were like, okay. Or like run so much, she would flip the couch. She would hit the couch so hard it would flip.
Yeah.
That's when we were like, well, she needs training.
There's a dog trainer down here that part of their like you send them away for a month and a half, I think. And when they come back, they're trained to go get you a beer from the fridge.
Holy shit.
That's like their claim to fame is like, yeah, no, it's part of our training program.
I know this is way off topic. The guy that trained Hazel, he trained the police dogs for Mattoon Police, and he would go overseas and train German Shepherds in Germany, and he would do the show thing. So
did he do Schützend?
Mm-hmm.
That dog sport? Yeah.
So like he had this big ass barn, metal barn, and inside had this circle thing of turf, a pole, and chains on it. He showed up one day and he goes, I want to show you guys something. So he's like, they brought this German Shepherd, had to have been 130 pounds. I don't know, this huge, it's the biggest German Shepherd I've ever seen. And they have to speak German to it. So he's speaking German. He put all three chains on his thing. He goes, Steve, go around the corner where they can't see you. I said, okay, I went around the corner. He said something in German. He goes, okay, now the dog's alert. This is a police. Yeah. And so this is a dog. If you took it home, it's the nicest dog ever until you say this word, and then it's alert. So when you go to bed, this dog's alert. Steve, walk around the corner very slowly.
Yeah, that dog.
So I walk around the corner very slowly. It pulled one of the chains off of the thing, and only two were left, and it's going nuts. And then they said a word to let it stop, and it just lay back down. And he goes, this dog, if you took it home and learned it, and you go to bed, or when you leave the house, you say this word, and it's alert.
Yeah, so
I pissed my pants. I was like, I'm going to die.
My buddy, he had a Schützen dog. So it's pass auf is be aware. Fooey is like forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like sits, plots. So that's sit and lay down. Revere means go get or like retrieve. So I know some of those.
And there's some word he said, and he said if you say this word, it allows the dog to play. Because it doesn't know that. It's a working dog.
Yeah. They're the word.
So there's some word that you can say where the dog knows, I don't kill this ball. I can bring it back and play like I can be a dog. And then you say another word where it goes back to being like, okay, I'm ready.
Yep.
Oh, it was scary. When I saw that chain be ripped off, I was like, I'm dead. I'm going to die.
Yeah, you don't realize like how big of pussies like humans are until you see an animal like go all out on something and you're like, oh, like you can unlock a bunch of strength that like I don't have.
Well, we're the lowest on the food chain unless we have a gun or a weapon. Because if that animal comes after us, we like a bear, we can't fight that.
Well, here's the deal: is our food's readily available right now. If we were talking the caveman times, we would have a lot less regulators. And I would say people that hunt have less regulators than like common people who don't hunt. So like Brad, I know you hunt, like you would have less of a regulator than what I would. But like the human body's like crazy. Oh Jesus, now we're really diving down.
Yeah, now
but yeah, when you start exposing, because like you can't vert, so you can't jump as high as your body's willing to fall. So you have to learn how to drop. And then that will then unlock your vert, actually, because your body feels safe. And so I was actually listening to this podcast the other day, and their theory was, they were talking back and forth, is that Bo Jackson was one of the very few humans that didn't have a regulator. And that's why he could do all these crazy things.
That's why he can run so hard he pops his hip out of the socket.
Exactly, because that regulator keeps your body in line and make sure that you don't overexert yourself. But like he could do a backflip in a pool.
So like,
yeah,
you want to talk about like your body regulating itself. So the average athlete has an like anaerobic metabolism. There's two kinds, right? Mm-hmm. The average athlete has enough like substrate, and your body has the physical ability to all out sprint without oxygen for 2 minutes. You can't, your mind can't let you do that, but physically your body can do it in a vacuum without oxygen.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
But then it's like your, what is it? Your creatine phosphate system. You've got like 8 seconds.
Yes.
8 seconds of immediate energy. Whether you use it or you don't, that's what you've got.
Yeah. And you can train that up. Like there's an upper limit to where you can basically become more efficient at using that pathway.
Yeah.
This is getting way in the weeds. We need to get away from it.
But this is fun stuff.
You're getting into my world now. We'll talk about
and you're not just that, but when you talk about, like kids that are sprinting so fast and then they stumble, that stumble reflex is basically their body's like, oh shit, and they stumble to slow themselves down, but really they've just unlocked a new speed for themselves and they just didn't know it.
Yeah.
So like I had a girl stumble Saturday. We were doing our sprinting at basketball, and she stumbled, and my kids just know it. Stumbling is what you actually want. You don't want to fake it, but stumbling is like very important, and it helps unlock different levels to your body.
Side note, where's Jacob at? We haven't seen us. There's been no.
Have we officially lost every viewer of this podcast?
We've had one. No, 8 fluctuates. It'll go up to like 8 or so, and then it goes back down.
I mean, we just said the word creatine phosphate on this show, so I'm assuming no one's going to listen ever again.
To save the show, we got to go back to dong talk. We need the dong talk.
Oh my God, Logan Lee. Present and accounted for.
Oh, he's waiting. He's waiting. We have our Geek Corner segment. We're waiting.
Yeah.
I know I have to.
The dong talk.
Hold on. It's a privacy screen, so that kind of.
I'll listen to Brett talk about dogs all day.
This one's for you, Logan.
Yeah, because me and Brad actually have to talk after. That dog's about to piss on you. It's going to be great.
One of Brad's 8 dogs right there.
Dr. Doolittle.
Dr.
A.K.A.
Doolittle.
the applesauce man, a.k.a.
Dr. Biscuits.
Man of many hats.
Yes.
Oh, he's going to go get another one. See what we've done now? You see the can that we just opened?
30 dollars.
Glad you found a new hat to wear.
Anyway, so now we're on to Carson Wentz, right?
Yeah, well, now that Logan's here, we should talk about the truck stop. Or we don't have all that.
Sadie was upset that I'm not playing with her, so she grabbed one of my shoes.
Oh,
Here you go, Brad. That's for you. So do we want to do Wentz or J.J. Watt?
we can do both because they kind of intertwine.
So Wentz still has not signed or been traded with a team. I was really afraid after last Sunday we didn't talk about it much.
We were worried.
We were worried because I was like, okay, it's going to be the Bears, and we're going to be or the Colts. Our new team is the Colts. He's still sitting there, and they keep pointing out that it's going to be the Bears.
Yeah, but let's be honest here. The best offer they have right now is Colts are offering 2 second-round picks. That's it.
The Bears are offering more, I think. There's a report they're offering what
No,
they almost want,
Bears,
aren't they?
last I checked, the Bears pulled out.
Oh, did they?
And now they're giving the Colts 2 second-round picks.
Evidently, the Bears never offered a first. That's what I heard.
He's froze.
What an idiot. This is the thumbnail.
It is. Yes, that's got to be the thumbnail. Dude, I got to get a picture of this. Hold on. Don't unfreeze. Don't unfreeze. Don't unfreeze. Yes, I got it.
This is just permanent. Oh, he's back.
There he is. There he is.
Welcome back.
I think Logan has messed with my internet, so we can talk about WandaVision. I think he's like, come on now.
Yeah.
Steve, that is the thumbnail that we need for the show.
Yep.
Do you have the dong up with it, though? I can't do it without the dong.
No, I have your picture looking confused.
So the normal face I make.
No, Steve, it was more like a
Yeah.
kind of one of those things. So I'm kind of glad that the Bears was like, we're not gonna overpay for this. Kind of made me feel good almost.
Oh, wait a minute. Time out. I skipped a segment. We skipped a segment.
Okay. Do you
So,
want to
okay.
do this right now, or is this
So
how
real
you want to end it?
So I don't care. Real quick, the Wentz thing is not going to. Wentz just needs to stay where he's at because he's not fucking worth the money. Nobody.
Well, and here's the deal: he's going to be a second-string quarterback, making top 5 quarterback money, and the Eagles just look like they're idiots.
I think
That was my taking a shit moment right there.
I think
I'm not afraid to say it.
yeah.
Oh,
I
Logan,
think-
real quick for Logan. Hold on.
Oh,
Nice. You shit on that movie so hard.
It's because here's the problem. Has any of you ever got told how good a movie was and it was hyped up so much and you're watching, you're like, it's not as hyped up as I thought. That's what happened, Brad. You told me how great this movie was way, way, way back when. So I watched it. I'm like, this is not as good. It was hyped. I had to watch it a second time for everything to process with Doctor Strange. I'm like, oh, now I get it. It's like Step Brothers. Hated it the first time. And then the second time, I was like, oh, this is hilarious.
I don't.
Did not shit on that movie. I shit more on Thor Ragnarok. I did not like Thor Ragnarok.
That is the one. That is the one that still makes me pissed.
Doctor Strange, you've forgiven me for.
I used to fall asleep every night watching Thor Ragnarok.
dude, Thor Ragnarok was hilarious.
The first time I watched it, I was like, this is dumb. Like when they got to that planet, it was dumb.
One of the better movie intros of all time.
No, yes, that I liked.
Just the music, everything is great.
I don't know that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 with Groot dancing around.
No, okay.
But they let Chris Hemsworth be himself in that opening. Like that's actually Chris Hemsworth. They just let him be himself.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm just talking about that one scene. Like the music was so perfect for that scene.
Hold on a minute. Hold on.
Wait,
Okay.
I didn't time it right. Yeah. No, that was great. Okay. I'm ready. If you guys
Well, do you want to end with the Alex Jones segment?
We ain't even talked about JJ Watt yet.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I need to move on.
JJ Watt, jeez.
So
Carson Wentz, stay there.
So Lovie Smith shows up, and Deshaun Watson wants out, and then JJ Watt asks for
because they know what Illinois football is.
How messed up is it that somebody brought this up? Like, who's their quarterback? Watson can ask for a trade, and everyone shits all over him in the media. But J.J. Watt wants out, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, great. Let him go.
Because
And then they let
he's
him go.
aged.
Is
I wonder
it
if
just
part of I think that's what it is, because part of it is Deshaun Watson, you were drafted to be the change in this thing. So like they spent that first rounder on him to be that. Whereas Watt, it's like Watt's maybe got 2 years left.
And he's
And he's trying
got
to
some
get a
injuries. He's had some
Yeah.
injuries the past 2 or 3 years. Now,
But
he's still good.
honestly, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I would want out of there, especially after the DeAndre Hopkins thing. You could tell right then and there that they were not going to surround him with what they needed.
Yeah.
I mean, look what they gave up to get Tunsil, who was a very mediocre left tackle.
That organization had such high hopes years ago when they were decent, like this upcoming. And then Bill O'Brien's like, I'm going to wear 8 hats and do this and do this and then screw it up.
Yeah.
Like poor Deshaun Watson, who threw for over 4,000 yards this year with a shit team.
Yeah.
And then J.J. Watt, like the Thanksgiving game, had that interception for a touchdown. I'm like, oh, he can still play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
imagine what Deshaun Watson could do if he had Allen Robinson.
Just one guy.
Yeah.
Well, look what he did with DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, that's what they were missing this year was a threat. Like they knew they could nickel and dime. They had the slot receivers. They just had nobody to take the roof off.
He made Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks good.
Like we know their names because of Deshaun Watson.
Cooks was good before, but Will Fuller most definitely made Will Fuller. But
Right.
then Will Fuller got popped for performance-enhancing drugs. But that's besides the point.
And they're not going to re-sign him.
Nope. Because now he's got that suspension, I think, that lingers over into the next year.
Are they going to be an organization soon at this rate?
They're going to be an expansion team.
I think they know that they screwed up handling the whole Watson deal. And so they're trying to do the right thing with J.J. Watt because they know that they're not winning a championship in 2 years. But they can't even keep Watson convinced to stay.
So where would you want to see him go?
Tampa Bay.
They
I
still got
want him and Tom Brady and Gronk, and you put him on the line with Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea and Jason Pierre-Paul. They're the Super Bowl. If he wants a guaranteed Super Bowl, you take the pay cut and you go to Tampa Bay.
but can Tampa Bay afford it?
Or Kansas City.
I think there's more chinks in the armor, and as those guys need to get re-signed, they're going to start. You've got a $500 million quarterback.
Now, his brother plays for Pittsburgh, right?
Yes, that would be interesting.
That was brought up, and then it was brought up because he's from Wisconsin to go to the Packers. If Aaron Rodgers stays and he goes to the Packers,
Of course he would.
Yeah.
but then the Bears again. I don't know how this happens. Every time so far this year that there's been a free agent or like a trade, the Bears are like, "Oh, they're the number one." He's brought up.
because his wife plays soccer in Chicago.
Like
Oh,
even
yeah.
Russell Wilson.
He's a professional athlete.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is brought up to be traded. And of course, the Bears are like number one. And maybe that's why they pulled out of the Wentz thing because Russell Wilson all of a sudden is talked about.
Which, why in the hell, if you're Seattle, he's delivered you 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl championship, and you've given him, you've surrounded him with shit, and he still somehow finds a way to make the playoffs.
You put one of the worst defenses on his team, and he still was leading that team to the playoffs.
Tyler Lockett was a household name because of Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Undersized Tyler Lockett. Golden Tate got a big contract with the Giants or with the Lions, wherever the hell he went after Seattle, because of Russell Wilson.
You don't get rid of him unless you get something back. And the Bears, are you going to get Mitchell Trubisky and say, let's use him?
The Bears and Trubisky are done.
But like,
So I don't know.
but is that going to be a thing where they just trade the rights to Mitchell Trubisky? And
Can
like,
they even
there you
do
go.
that? He's going to be a free agent. They don't have rights to him. They didn't even pick up his 5th year.
I think there's a date where they could like pick it up and trade him. So it could be like we pick him up to trade to Seattle.
That already passed.
Are you sure? Because COVID, they could extend everything.
Well, who knows with COVID rules? I'm sure they'll make some shit up, but
They can franchise tag him.
Right, they could do that and then trade him.
that because the salary cap's going down and we're already cap strapped as it is.
Yeah, we're $500,000 over the cap now.
So Chicago's not signing JJ Watt.
No.
They keep saying that he's they're the number one choice.
You know what? Here's another crazy ass thing. So I was doing this like mock draft simulator the other day. Why in the hell is Dylan Moses, the linebacker from Alabama, falling in drafts?
Because he doesn't cover well.
Don't give a shit. Drop Trevathan, get his ass in the second round.
But
now you've got Roquan and Moses.
It's essentially the same problem you have, though, because Trevathan can stop the run, but he's an absolute liability in pass coverage.
But Moses is actually athletic enough to be able to cover passes. He's just right there.
Yeah.
And you could just run the Packers like 4-2-5 set, and you just have 6 defensive backs on the field because that's what the league's getting to anyways.
Yeah.
You get a couple hybrids and then roll with it.
As a fan, I guess we're Colts fans now. So as a fan, it'd be nice to see JJ Watt and Mac on that causing havoc. But you're going to Matt Nagy, and that's where I'm like, no. Like,
No.
you need to go to a coach that knows what the hell he's doing.
Right.
I
have a dog about to shit all over the floor.
Jesus, how often does this dog pee or poop?
It's just fucking, I don't know. Fucking high maintenance.
I thought Hazel was high maintenance from being in the city.
Yeah,
But she was born in Carbondale, so that Carbondale factor.
that's true. I will tell you this. I think the one thing that was nice, did you see what Darius Leonard tweeted?
Mm-hmm.
So Darius Leonard basically put out all the free agents who are interested in playing for Indianapolis. This is our culture. This is how things are done. This is our identity. And if you don't match that, you need to look elsewhere.
I like it.
Was a summary of it. He said it a lot better, but I really had a lot of respect for that. He was like, this is the kind of team we're building, and you ain't going to come in and screw this up for us. And I absolutely love that. That is a leader.
Yes. Well, the only reason why I haven't bought my Colts shirt yet is because of Wentz. Once Wentz is signed somewhere, I'm like, I can get the Colts.
Settle somewhere so we can
Yeah, so we can get our jersey or our shirt, like the blue paint that we're going to have.
Yes.
Like, Wentz is ruining this. Like, we're Colts fans are excited.
About Darius Leonard?
Yes, that was an awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely loved it.
So, Wentz, you're ruining our fandom with Bears and Colts.
It's almost like we should just become Buccaneers fans.
Well, we might as well be LeBron fans at that point.
Nope. I've been a Tom Brady fan for like 12 years. And then I read his book, and then he was like, he's up there.
The only book I have on him is Belichick and Brady, which I haven't read yet.
Yeah, I have the TB12 book.
I was a Tom Brady fan until the Michael Jordan thing, and then I had to stop.
There you go, Steve. You're pulling out books.
I can't reach my bookshelf. Yeah, I thought about getting that one.
It's a good one. Talks about like body preservation and stuff. It's good stuff. And then I got, dude, this is older than shit. So I like retro books. The Track and Field Omni book. Talks about like, I mean, you look at these, like these are like, but this is like an old school, just, and I absolutely, I love the, and some of it's still relevant today, but I really enjoy. So here's the original high jump before the Fosbury flop.
No, that's old. That's real old school.
Yeah. Yep. Talks about the scissor jump. The dive straddle is what it was called.
The dive straddle.
I don't know when in the hell this book was made. When was this book? 71. Oh, wait a minute. 4th edition. So it's saying 85.
My parents were still in high school.
85. So the year before I was born. I mean, it's pretty badass. This book is pretty legit. Yeah, I like that old shit. The Omni book, Brad. Track and field.
Well, it's kind of like the original Wing T book I want to get, but it's like $200.
Don't be a bitch. Get it before it's 400.
Yeah, it's true. That stuff only goes up.
Yep.
Just like Dogecoin.
Well,
yeah.
Hopefully. Coach said if I put on a
28,000 Dogecoins, so
there was a football coach. He said he put out a Google alert for that book, and it finally alerted him one day, and it was like $60, and he bought it in 30 seconds. Like so I need to do that.
I would like to get one of the original Prefontaine workouts, but they're like $600-700.
Yeah, you're talking big money there.
Yeah, and get that framed. That's something I would like in my office.
Yeah.
So are we ready for our last segment?
Yeah. Yeah, wait, where did we all want him to go?
Oh.
I want him to go to the Bucks.
Okay.
Where's JJ Watt going?
Pittsburgh or the Colts?
Okay.
In all honesty, I think he ends up with it's got to be a team with a good quarterback. Like, I could see him going to the Packers. I'm going to say the Packers.
Or that, too, because he's close to Chicago. Too.
All good choices.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. You have to have the voice.
Let me tell you something here.
Oh.
I've got all these files.
Check it, Jamie.
Okay. So this started because I was thinking back. For years, Illinois sucked at playing at Wisconsin. Right?
Yes.
And we always sucked playing at Michigan. Okay? So I got to think about it, and I thought back to when I was in college. SIU always played with an Under Armour ball because we were an Under Armour school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when we would go to other schools, we played with their ball. It was different wherever you went, right?
Right.
So I looked it up. Do you know what the actual guidelines are for the NCAA for your basketball?
No.
So there's a range. So it can be between 29 and 30 inches.
Wait a minute. Did you just see this? Sorry. Illinois is asking what uniform they put out a poll, what uniform they should wear against Northwestern.
Is it a home game?
Yes. White, orange, script, or Flying Illini?
Script.
Script. I voted
Script
for
is
it.
the only right answer. Those are uniforms.
Script is 44% right now, but there's only wait, it says 0 votes now. What the hell's going on?
Your vote doesn't count.
Continue on.
You've been disenfranchised as an Illini.
Damn it.
Don't worry,
Okay,
I voted for script, 44%.
So you're in the NCAA, basketballs can be between 29 and 30 inches and anywhere from 20 to 22 ounces. Right?
That is a huge difference.
There's also no regulation as to what the ball's made of and how deep the ridges can be. Okay.
Do we need to get our tinfoil hats on?
You should put a tinfoil hat on here. Okay. So then that made me look into, are there schools that play with weird? Yes.
I'll wear a
schools
hat.
that play with a weird basketball. Okay. So then I find there's a weird lane of people who have written about the University of Wisconsin. The entire time Bo Ryan is at Wisconsin, they used a ball that no one else in the NCAA used. It was from a company, was from Sterling, and in all the time that Bo Ryan was there, no other NCAA school used this ball. Bo Ryan was 223 and 27 at home and 55 and 77 on the road.
That son of a bitch.
Yes. Ever since then, the minute Bo Ryan left, Wisconsin went to they use a Spalding now, which is the official NCAA ball. That's what you use in the NCAA tournament. Since then, their home winning percentage has gone down by like 15 points since they switched over to the normal basketball. So Illinois uses a Nike Elite basketball because we're a Nike school, right?
Yes.
There is a statistics department in the University of California that ran a study that found statistical relevance between Nike schools and going to other schools' basketball. And it showed a drop in overall shooting percentage of 6.7%. If you go from Nike to Adidas, your shooting percentage drops 7.4%. Think about it. Where else does Illinois play like shit? Indiana. Indiana uses Adidas basketballs. Now, those rat fucks at Michigan, they use a basketball up until when Beeline was there. They used a basketball called the Rock.
Yes.
Yeah, there were one of two schools in the NCAA that used it. In that time, their shooting percentage was a lot higher at home and then terrible on the road. They also had the same winning percentage drop when they switched from the Rock to a Nike basketball. We talked about this when schools sign like their shoe contract or whatever. A lot of times the basketball comes with it. There are only like very few schools do. Kansas doesn't play with an Adidas ball. They use a Spalding. UNC doesn't always play with a Nike ball. And there's one other one. But everyone else sticks with their school brand for the most part. So, let's see. I got to look. I've got so much written down here.
You really got your documents.
Here for a minute.
Okay, so
This has been declassified. It's been declassified.
yeah, this is recently declassified. Okay, so let's look at Illinois' bad games and losses this year. Illinois at Nebraska. Just played that game. Adidas basketball. Illinois versus Wisconsin. That's a Nike home game, whatever. It'll be interesting to see how we play when we're at Wisconsin. Because then it will be an Adidas ball. Or no, it'll be an Under Armour ball. Okay. Illinois at Rutgers. Adidas ball. Illinois at Northwestern. They use a Wilson. They don't use an Under Armour ball. It's still statistically relevant that they're going to drop shooting percentage. Illinois at Baylor, they used a Spalding. Now, some big-time programs, like North Carolina, brings in outside basketballs for practice. I looked through over 500 pictures of Illinois basketball practices. Didn't see a single ball that wasn't branded Nike.
We need to get. Can we tweet at Coach Underwood?
I think
He'll see it. He'll at least see it.
Exactly. Like, we are not, we clearly aren't doing everything we can to win these games. And I think the people to blame is Michigan basketball.
Actually, I think it would start with Wisconsin for using that bullshit ball.
Exactly. I don't understand how that's legal.
How can you make a ball 2 inches bigger? That's a significant difference.
The only reason Michigan quit using the rock was because it was the outer skin on it was so tough that it broke multiple of their own players' fingers. It's the only reason they quit.
Because the advantage they had with it justified using it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But, like, I don't see how, with this being open information, how are we not practicing with other basketballs?
How is the NCAA not coming in and being like, hey, we're all going to use the same basketball, but the brand can stamp their insignia on it. So, like, we're going to use the same basketball, but we'll stamp Nike on it, or we'll stamp. That's kind of weird, dude.
But the weird thing, exactly. Yes. And I couldn't believe it. I was reading through this, and they've tried. Like, Bill Self tried a couple years ago to say, like, listen, why doesn't every team play with the same ball? Like, in the NCAA tournament, they all have to play with the same ball.
Yes.
But all season long, these other schools get to play with their own ball.
Well, and that could be the difference between you being on the bubble and being in.
Exactly.
Like, that directly impacts the NCAA tournament, the seeding, all of that.
Like, think about all those times Wisconsin had a near perfect home record.
Yeah, and it was a big deal for us to win because we were their only home loss.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. There's something's funky here. Like, I understand shoe deals are a big deal in college basketball, and it makes these schools a lot of money. Like, you're talking multi-million dollars for, like, Michigan's deal, and dong masks, obviously. But it's, in my opinion, humbly, after a lot of research from recently declassified information, Illinois needs to go to their local Dick's Sporting Goods and pick up some goddamn Adidas basketballs.
This is insane. Like, honestly, I'm shocked. I shouldn't be shocked, but I am shocked. Like, I think there would be a standard. Like, there would be a standard that they'd have to meet.
That's what I'm saying. That was a good look at my face. Actually, that one, yes. That was me going, how is this allowed?
Yeah.
So get ready, people.
Now we need to look at
now
stuff, which honestly it doesn't make a difference, but because they just use their own ball for their own possessions. But where else can we go with this? That there's a mutual ball that is played. Because baseball, it's all dealt out by the league. There's not anything.
And in the NBA, everyone's got to use the same ball.
Yes, it's a Spalding.
Yes. So obviously the NCAA does it for the tournament. Why don't they force all of these?
It's interesting because was there any ball that when they shot another ball, it increased?
No. It was pretty much okay. So really, they only did the analysis from if you're a Nike school going to another one. And the biggest dip was Nike to Adidas. Was that 7.4%?
I'm just still going back to how can you have different size balls? Like in high school, we all have to use the same size ball, the same size football.
Maybe we don't, Steve.
But isn't
maybe it's just this, like, we get told that, oh, this is accepted by the NFHS.
And so technically, like, you could go out and use a synthetic ball.
this is WandaVision shit. Let's just back up for a second.
No,
My reality is changing.
Like, do you remember, what was it, 2 years ago when the NBA went to a full synthetic basketball?
Yes.
And shooting percentages shot way up?
Well, can
like,
I just
you could do that. You could do that in the NCAA.
Well, I don't know if this matters. Like in high school football in Illinois, when you make the playoffs, they send you the playoff football, and it's different than what we've used all year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like that too. Like, why
How's
can't
it
we use?
different? It's the same GST ball.
It's a different
ISA stamp.
but it's a different like feel. It's a different material. It's brand new, and it's like we have to use this.
You don't have to, because I have one that's unused.
When we like at Glenbardese, when we made it, they were like, it has to be this ball.
Unless they've changed that, or I broke rules, but I figured my crew would have, the refereeing crew would have said something.
Or it might be a ref thing. I remember playing for Denhart. We made the playoffs, and it was like, we have to use this ball. And even back then was different. It's like a red ball, like a maroonish ball.
Oh, yeah. It was like fake.
Well, you had to use those jank-ass Badens when you guys were in school.
Yes.
Unless you made the playoffs, and it was like this.
Balls. They weren't even fit enough to shoot through a jugs machine.
So anyway,
But not at Charleston because they don't know the playoffs. Anyway,
that is how I spent the latter part of the last 3 days.
That's pretty interesting stuff. I would have known that. And now I know that. And now I'm going to go blow people's minds. Quoting Dr. Biscuits about
you're all welcome.
About ball size. I'm just going to go treat people on ball size.
And by the way, Michigan was using the rock ball when they won their championship in 2012. I mean, they weren't using it in the tournament, but they used it in the regular season. Cowards.
Another reason you're a bitch. So you said it can vary between 20 and 22 ounces.
Yeah.
And what
between 29 and 30 inches.
That's big difference.
That is a huge difference.
Right?
Like an inch is a big difference.
You're telling me.
That's what she said.
like someone whacking that inch.
Now we're back to dome.
Could you imagine if he had an extra inch on that, how big of a whistle he could fit in there?
Dude.
It would be the biggest whistle anybody had ever seen.
Exactly. Like we're talking
stiff whistle in that dog.
Like if you're shooting a 3, 2 ounces is a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Well, even just the feel of the ball when you're holding the ball.
I hope this is the picture YouTube puts up, the dong talk.
There was a lot of stuff in there about if you're playing in a conference with a lot of good free throw shooters, Adidas puts their barcode tag right next to the valve stem. So like your hand sits on that like slick part if you're someone who puts your finger on the valve stem. Yes.
So now we're getting deep into Adidas. Where's these classified files?
Oh, believe me, I put in multiple phone calls to Adidas headquarters. They've yet to get back to me, but
that still just boggles me on the size, let alone, and that is even interesting.
Can we get Joe Rogan to call the CEO of Adidas?
Oh, I called Alex Jones.
Let me tell you something here, Brad Miller. If I'm going to call Adidas, I need to have some good hard facts. I need to maybe talk about some lizard people.
Which is the biggest problem is like this lack of, ball size between universities. Does it make the frogs gay?
We need ball size standards in the NCAA.
Exactly. And until we have it, there's going to be more gay frogs.
Yes.
Exactly.
Maybe we should have led with that because that was just like
That was actually really interesting. And
You
now
weren't ready for me to actually have something to say, were you?
No,
I knew. I just didn't know it was going to be
dive
that.
into that stuff. And I knew once you started, and when you said that you had really dove in, I was like,
Yeah.
well, this is going to be good.
No, I knew. I just didn't know what.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared.
Well, it was such a weird niche thing, and it just hit me all of a sudden. I was like, we suck against schools that wear Adidas.
Were you near the tinfoil hat when this happened? Like,
I mean, I wear this at home all the time.
Oh, so you took it off and then it just clicked.
It keeps the 5G from cooking his brain.
Exactly. I'm not trying to, get.
Do they have 5G in Carbondale?
I don't live in Carbondale.
Marion, Southern
I live
Illinois.
in like rural Southern Illinois.
5G doesn't hit some.
We don't even have 3G.
We still have AOL.
If you got one bar, it doesn't matter what number's next to it.
The entire time we're doing this podcast, all 4 of my neighbors can't be on the internet.
You ask for like a levy. Like, I'm going to levy all of you. I will give you the internet full time while I'm at work.
Yeah, this podcast blacks out half of Harrisburg.
And had to use the flip phone to look this up.
Yep. Hey, shout out Andy Rutledge. One time Andy came down to visit me, and he didn't want to talk to his girlfriend.
I was there.
He shut his phone off, and he convinced his girlfriend that the entire town of Carbondale didn't have Wi-Fi.
Like it was in a dome.
Yeah, he was like, there's like a dome down here. There's no cell phone signal.
That was the first time we visited. We just decided one day we were driving around by Danville. And we're like, you know what? Let's just go to Carbondale.
Yep.
And then he turned his phone back on, and there was 88 missed calls. And
yeah, he was in a lot of trouble. But then he had me get on the phone and explain to his girlfriend that there was no cell phone signal.
Yeah, it's like, are you guys in a dome? You're like, yep, welcome to Thunderdome. Beep.
I mean, of course, everybody is sitting here saying the flying Illini needs to come back.
I voted script.
No,
I voted script.
Those flying Illini uniforms are cool, but
those should be for a special game, not Northwestern.
But I also want those in white.
I thought they were in white.
No, they're orange.
No, they're in orange.
Yeah.
Oh, the white with the blue lettering?
Yeah. What's the white one then? Is the white one the script, or is that
the white one's script?
Yeah. And I love the white. The white ones are my favorite by far. But like, I think those Fighting Illini ones in white would be.
And then we could wear like, if we ever play Michigan, if they grow balls and get some ball size, they come out in the uniform, the shirts that say Muck Michigan as their warm-up shirt.
I thought about like printing one of those shirts. Like
I have one, but it doesn't say Ann Arbor's a whore on the back.
Yeah, those are the OGs.
Oh,
those are the OGs. That was, you had to be a part of the Orange Crush to get the Ann Arbor's a whore on the back,
which they would never allow now. Like if the Orange Crush was printing those shirts now.
Well, it's not even, you know what? We can't even talk trash or make fun of anything nowadays. Like, can you imagine the student sections when they come back? Dude, there was times like Caesar was talking to me about the player from Iowa that had been like, that got in trouble for something. And like, they were going at him for basically his personal life. Like the trash talking that used to happen in those student sections, like they would get a script and it would tell them everything negative about a player. Like they had their own scouting reports.
Well, yeah, like that's just good old fashioned trash talk.
But now they don't have it. It's like, boo, hope you missed a free throw. That was a good-looking free throw. Good job.
Or just push it. Or just yell push it to sound like bullshit. That's all we have left.
I loved that. Yeah.
Nuts and bolts. We got screwed. Can't do that anymore.
Or warm up the bus. That's about all we got.
Yep, that's about all they got, and that's from EA Sports.
You know the best one ever though. Have you ever watched the Texas A&M baseball team? So Texas A&M has like a full baseball stadium every game,
Yeah.
and if the opposing pitcher walks a guy, they start chanting "ball 4." It's like ball 4, ball 4, and then if he throws another ball, that ball 5, ball 5, and like. Look it up after this because it is kind of cool, but they will like run pitchers out of there in 2 innings.
That's badass.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if Logan's still listening. I'm sure Logan knows about that one, but like, it's cool to watch it.
What about the a-hole from Vanderbilt that does the whistle?
The whistle.
Yeah, so he goes,
Oh,
shit. Now my dogs are going off.
Did you see the
Come here.
they showed a replay of the dude from Vanderbilt that he was like pitching a no-hitter, and the coach from Duke called offensive timeout to try to like break up his rhythm, and then he ended up striking the dude out, and he was like cussing out the Duke dugout as he was walking back. They had that guy on Pitching Ninja. I don't know if you follow him, but
No.
it's cool. Pitching Ninja's in with all of the like. Actually, I think Nathan would like it because it's all sports performance stuff.
Ooh, I like that. What were you talking about? Because I had to go entertain my dogs. Now I've had to open the window for them so they can look out the window.
Have you seen the video of the pitcher from Vanderbilt that was like throwing a perfect game? And the Duke coach in college basketball, you can call an offensive timeout and like bring the coach out to talk to the batter. And this dude was going and he called offensive timeout and stood out there and was like trying to break this pitcher's rhythm. And the pitcher, like 2 throws later, struck the dude out. And he like walks off and he's like, call another fucking timeout.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's weird that they can do that.
I know. Isn't that weird?
That shouldn't be able to happen.
Kind of like ball size. Like it should be standard.
Yes.
Because if it's altering a shooting percentage by 7%, that is a statistical significance.
Well, and that's what they said. They were like, I didn't really believe a lot of this until I found that like actual statistical analysis. And
people have thought about this because they're statistics. They're like, wait a minute.
yeah, and I even looked at the statistics and like there's enough raw data there to make this like worthwhile.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about analyzing hundreds of games.
Well, you're talking, 7%. So that's just under 1 out of every 10 shots. Shoot 60 shots in a game. That's 5 shots. Now you take those 5 that are threes. That's 15 points. Yeah, it can get pretty hefty real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's the.
And that's on average. You could be higher.
I mean, 15 points. That's the total number of points in 4 of our losses.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Michigan isn't playing. They haven't gotten the basketballs in yet. They're waiting on the shipment because COVID.
No, they're not playing because they're cowards.
Well, that too. Their ball size isn't right.
We all know that their ball size is 28.5, not even 29.
Yeah. They're
Maybe
playing
27.
They're playing with a Nerf ball.
They're playing with one of those tough skin PE balls.
Mm-hmm. The kind you have to play dodgeball with.
Yes.
Yep.
That once one kid starts picking at it, then all of a sudden it's like a foam ball by a third hour.
Mm-hmm. And it just flutters. When you throw it, it flutters. It just that's what Michigan is right now. You are fluttering in the wind.
You are a foam PE ball that needs to be retired.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. We got it.
Yep.
Yes.
Here.
He's here.
The rest of the Big Ten is using a kickball to play dodgeball with right now, and Michigan's demanding that we move to the foam ball.
Yeah.
On the blacktop.
in the small foam balls, not even the full size.
Yeah, not the ones you can rocket at people.
Yeah.
No. It's like we need something to deaden this down a little bit.
Speaking of which, that game just started 10 minutes ago.
Oh, I should probably be watching that.
Well, any other Alex Jones segment? We got the declassified files, so we're good.
No, that was it. I feel better now. I got that off my chest. I mean, the people know now, so do with that information what you will, but just know.
But now you have to find these segments every so often now.
Actually, that will be fun.
Yeah.
To like dive into that kind of stuff.
I mean, we've been over this before, but I can continue to dive into Magic Johnson's AIDS.
His magic aids.
I mean, his lack of AIDS.
Lack of AIDS, or does money actually get injected? Does Bitcoin get injected into the bloodstream?
Exactly. South Park had it right. That's how Magic Johnson solved his problems. You inject $500,000 directly into your bloodstream, AIDS is gone.
What just happened? Did I freeze that time?
You froze that time. I wish it was frozen on the dong, though. That's what we needed.
Steve, I will send you. You know what? I'm gonna text it in our group chat right now. These photos are copyrighted by me, by the way. Don't not use them for your likeness.
Can we get like a huge picture of the dong behind you just rolls down from the
I
ceiling?
really want to get a fat head like right up here, right there. And my wife would let me do it. She's such a good sport, dude. Like I could do all kinds of stupid shit in here. She'd be all for it.
Well, yeah, as long as you're in that room.
Yeah.
Don't let it
never leaves this room.
If I invade her crafting space, probably not going to happen. But
why is this dong in the living room? Well,
it has to
put it on the window when people drive up. What's that dong all over the windows?
This dong is my life.
Did you guys see the picture of our new court?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a drone photo. Did I send that to you guys?
Well, I saw it on the live stream.
Oh, okay.
It looks really nice. Like Westville's stepping up.
Dude, well, we broke ground. We're officially not having a home football game this year.
That kind of sucks, but it'll be worth it when that's done.
Yeah.
Dude.
For a year to not have a home game, this is it.
Well, especially for Marion County, where you're not going like God's green earth all over the place.
I got you a zoomed in dong and then a Kofi diddling dong.
Nah, there we go.
Can you say Kofi diddling dong a couple more times an episode, please?
Yes, I will work that into a
Kofi Cockburn diddling dong. I love how you roasted that lady. Is like he's from Jamaica. That's how they pronounce it.
Yeah, and she's been on like Fox Sports and stuff like that, and she liked that comment. I wasn't trying to be mean about it. It's just she genuinely didn't know. Most non-Illinois fans probably wouldn't know.
Well, I remember his freshman year. I was like, this dude's named Cockburn.
Yeah, like I'm getting a jersey.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's pronounced Coburn. And I'm just like, so boring.
I have one. I have a Kofi Illinois script jersey.
No shit.
Yeah.
Michigan's up by 3 right now.
That's okay. They're playing at Wisconsin. They're having to figure out the ball size.
Soon. It's
Fuck,
coming.
I see that 3 next to Michigan's name. I'm like, you mother ball-sized fuckers.
I know. I've seen it so many times over the last week, and it makes me physically angry.
Is we're supposed to go around east to west?
Yes.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing.
We're flipping the home and away bleachers, though.
Are they like one of the only schools that does that?
Unity's east-west. Muhammad's east-west. Yeah, most are north-south. But
Like in Vermilion County, I think they're the only ones.
yes.
Wait, Danville's runs
Nope, Danville's north-south.
Huh.
Brad, do you remember going to the Unity? This is way off. Brad, you remember going to the Unity playoff game when they lost like 7-6 and they were throwing stuff at Scott and then we got pelted near with Gatorade bottles? Oh, because their field goal kicker missed 3 field goals.
Oh,
That was a rough game. It was a
That wind was like 45 miles an hour.
slobber knocker of a game. Yeah.
They were throwing bottles at like Scott and them, and then we were just like, we got to go.
Yeah, that's just getting stupid.
Yeah.
Like we have to.
I mean, if you're throwing crap at a high school game,
Your Hall of Fame football coach.
You need to get the hell out.
yeah, like you shouldn't be there.
How much has Unity done with Coach Hamilton as their head coach? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like and look at that's why like back in we were in high school. I was a senior, and I'm like, you have a Hall of Fame football coach, and you're throwing shit at him.
Yeah,
fire him
like,
and see what happens.
How old are you?
Go hire what's his face that I won't repeat and see what happens.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Unity's coach? I thought he was. I just didn't know if he was already or it's like.
Coach Jostis just got in the Hall of Fame, but a couple days ago, he just got voted in from
really?
Foresight. Yep.
Nice.
I'll tell you what's Unity's actually been a lot of help. I went over there. Well, me and our head boys track coach went over there and talked to him about their track and stuff. They've been a huge help.
They will answer a lot of things for football and track.
Yeah, they're unbelievable people, man. They really help out. And I think just because they're so successful at everything, people think that they might not be. But, man, I sat down for 2 hours on a Friday afternoon, and it was snowing, and they talked to us like they had a third hour. And I was like, holy Moses, like this is –
Their track –
do they still have like that crazy booster program?
They have a great booster program.
That's what helped with that turf field, I think. That's kind of how they were able to make that work.
Well, have you seen their track? I think they're the only gray track in Illinois.
Yeah.
Their new track is gray.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Well, their track got moved up a class when I was at Charleston. So they came up to our class, they were we saw them at sectional, and I'm like, oh my God, they can compete at this class. Like,
I think they still got like third in the state, getting moved up a class. That was when they had Stephen Miggett.
Yeah, because they were 1A, and then we're 2A, so then they came up to 2A, and we were like, oh my God, they can compete at this 2A.
Yeah, no, they're legit.
That's nuts.
And then now I'm 3A in track.
Are they?
Neek was 3A. No, where I'm at, it's 3A.
Oh, yeah.
Neek was boys throwers.
Unity's girls are 1A, I believe.
Yeah, and then the boys were 2A.
Yes.
The boys throwers coach sent me an email, and he goes, yeah, if you ever want to work together, let me know. My thrower last year went to Yale to throw, and I was like, oh. And then our jumper for girls is going to Michigan. Our pole vaulter, or our high jumper is going to Michigan.
Dude, Nequa Valley is no joke in track. I know that name, and I'm in a 1A school.
Well, there's 3,700 kids to pick from.
Well, you still got to be able to coach those 20 kids that you have out that are that good.
Yeah,
like when I walk in, there's a pool with like 10 lanes to my right. And I'm like, oh, all right.
That's pretty sweet.
30 basketball hoops, 5 courts.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But if you're not having that kind of success there with that amount of kids, you're probably not that good of a coach.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
but there are schools
you can have them and still not be good.
But the schools that have them, not trying to poke, some are successful and have them. Some get grants or donations, and that's how they get that stuff, hoping that turns the corner.
Yeah.
Like Westville's been good for a few years now. They should have had that before.
Yeah, well,
we'll
be the first county school that will have, something like that. So it'll be nice. I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a pretty cooperative effort and stuff. Like we're going to do it, and I think we're doing it right. And so that's cool. Being a coach that doesn't look to leave there, right? Like I have no aspirations of going anywhere else. I don't want to coach at a big school. I like the area. My parents live here. Like it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And when Brad can come, we can just go run at our track and stuff.
Dude, I'd love to go run again.
And I'll ride on the golf cart and encourage you.
Yeah. No, I'll be on like a motorized scooter. Brad will run.
No.
Wait, you're going to do me like
like you did me. Yeah.
Dude, I'm so out of shape. If Circle was in shape, I'd be good.
No, I never have really let go of that time we were running and you rope-a-doped me like a motherfucker. And I went home. I didn't sleep that night. I was so pissed.
Just so everybody knows, Brad can hold a grudge every now and again.
Oh, bullet, yes. I still haven't forgot. I think about it every time I do cardio.
Dude, those were some of the best. That was like the best shape that I was ever in, like past high school.
I think me too, probably.
I mean, we were running 5-6 miles a day. And like you were clipping it out. It wasn't some bullshit.
My knees hurt just from the sound of that.
Well, no, I remember because the thing that pissed me off was I was like probably 30, 40 yards ahead of you.
Yeah.
Going into our last lap. And we got down to the like last 200 meters. And all of a sudden, I hear some feet coming. And you blow past me and go, nope.
Shut up.
Open palm.
I was so angry at the time, it took my breath away.
Yeah, we had some good ones. Those were fun.
I remember you guys doing that. It was like 110 degrees out. I'm like, you guys are nuts.
Yeah, dude, it was insane. I remember doing like sprint workouts and shit. Oh my God. Yeah, it's a bad deal.
Yeah. And then when it was over, we're going to keep diving into this. When it was over, I'm sitting there just furious. And you had the balls to look at me and you're like, that's why you need to be doing squats.
And now knowing such a dipshit comment.
Oh, but oh God.
Such a dipshit comment. Now
like the hair on the back of my neck is standing up right now.
Your hat is like
stupid that sounds.
Brad's hat is getting smaller because he's fuming. The fuming of it is.
He's actually boiling his brain right now.
Yeah, I need to open an air vent.
Dude, you don't even, you know how stupid that sounds? I don't even remember saying that.
Oh, but I'll never forget it.
I am pissed at myself.
It's written above.
Still to this day, if I do more than 2 days of cardio in a row, I do squats.
It is written.
It has nothing to do with speed.
I know that at this point. And as I'm doing the squats, I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, fuck you, Nathan.
It is written on Brad's ceiling, so when he goes to sleep, squats.
Dude, I'm like red. I am red. Oh my God. Oh God.
Yep.
I'm such a dick.
Like you asked me how I got through doing those like 5-hour elliptical things.
It was the squat session afterward.
No, it was just pure hate.
You would torch my ass now. If I got around one lap,
I would either torch your ass or I'd bring a gun and shoot you. Not letting it happen again.
Brad runs with a gun on his hip now every day.
Yeah.
Brad's going like I could probably clip out one lap and then after that it'd be done.
No, here's the thing. Like I'm a good endurance athlete, weirdly enough. Like I'm a heavier set guy, but I'm an endurance athlete.
You got a good engine.
I don't have as much like short burst speed.
Yeah.
I do about 15 yards and then it's done.
Yeah.
See, I'm actually going to, when it gets nicer out here, because we have a long driveway, I'm going to get out here and start 10 flying and see how fast I can make myself this summer. I think that is like my goal. I just want to see what happens.
We have a big hill, like our backyard's kind of a hill. And last summer, I went and did some sprint stuff. And I felt stupid because it's just me out there running sprints in my backyard.
Right.
But it felt good because I hadn't like tried to semi-competitively run sprints in forever.
Yeah.
But
it's like my girl athletes, we do like the miles per hour thing, and I got some that are up over 18, almost 19, and So one day I was feeling good and freaking went out there and tried to clip one out, and it was like 17.8. And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Now I look like an asshole.
Yep.
I mean, most of the time it's true.
So this is a good game. 22-20 Wisconsin with 9 minutes left. They're just going back and forth.
The ball is taking
9
over.
minutes left in the first half.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going back and forth. It's like 20-20. That's 20-20 or 22-20.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Well,
So
It's the ball size must be different.
I'm telling
I
you,
love this. Honestly, it's boggled my mind. I'm ready to go treat everybody tomorrow.
Where's the?
No, we don't even have school tomorrow, so I'm ready to go treat nobody. I'm ready to go get my mani pedi for Valentine's Day.
yeah, no, I just got a text. There's an emergency response meeting that I have to go to later today because people in Southern Illinois don't know how like snow works, and they're like, no one's going to show up to work.
I just drove in the snow to a game where I couldn't see the road because in Chicago they believe in just driving.
Yeah, people down here, like we got a lot of ice. We didn't
Yeah,
really get any snow. We got ice, but now it's going to snow on top of the ice, which I get it. It freaks people out, but grow up.
I went Final Destination twice yesterday, so I'm getting ready to pull out of where the Dairy Queen is next to the high school.
Mhm.
So I'm at
We're
that
doing
light.
it now. We're doing it Vermilion County only.
I'm at that light, and my light turns green, and I'm looking at this car, and I'm like, this son of a bitch ain't stopping. So I sit there at a green light. I'm sitting there because this guy is just hauling ass, just buzzes through it. So I'm infuriated already because it's like, what if that was one of my kids? They just see green light and they're going. So now I'm pissed off, as is. So then I call up my assistant coach. I'm like, did you see that stupid? Blah, blah, blah? I'm like going off, and he's like, yeah, dude, I thought I was going to be having to pick you up off the pavement. He's like, that would have been almost an in-gamer. I was like, yep. So we're like laughing. So I get off the phone there at Lyons Road, and I'm turning to go towards Catlin. Well, Lyons Road's drifting right now. Wind's blowing it. So everybody kind of has these. Well, here comes this FedEx driver driving like a dumbass, and he's coming at me. And I'm driving, and I see this happening. So I'm like, I'm slowing down. I'm just treading through the snow nice and lightly. All of a sudden, he starts going, and then damn near takes out one of the freaking electrical poles. And now he's stuck in the ditch. And I just kept going. I could see I was that close to him. It was like he was like 2 inches from hitting that light pole or the electrical pole.
Ooh.
And then I left. Because I was like, no, you did this on your own. You were on your phone because he he dropped his phone. Like I could see he looked up at me when he started losing it. Pisses me off, dude.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the road. You're driving. And that's your job. You're a FedEx driver.
Yeah, you're a driver for a living.
Yeah. Pay
Maybe
attention.
drive.
Yeah. You're actually getting paid to do this. Meanwhile, I'm on my way home. Don't screw this up for me. So I sat in the middle of my living room floor for like 2 hours with nothing around me to make sure I didn't have some crazy ass thing happen.
All right. Well,
We did it.
We did this in under 3 hours today.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. I feel good about it.
Yep.
We
Jacob
always
showed up
leave
at the end, so now we can be done. All right, we're done.
Absolutely. Bye, everybody.
Dong talk out.
Dong out.